Hey, welcome back to the episode Instagram podcast. I'm your host Juan, and as always, my co-host are with me.
Hey Trip. Hey bud.
How's it going, man?
It's great. This week we get to talk about a movie that I've been waiting to watch.
Okay.
The Violet Evergarden movie.
Mm-hmm.
I have opinions about it, and they're pretty positive, but also we'll find out why they're not.
Yeah, that's
later in this episode, everyone. Yay.
Yeah, that just came out recently on Netflix.
Netflix shout outs
to Netflix.
Our boys at Netflix.
They never do anything wrong. They're always in the right.
I love Netflix.
Squid Game. Mwah.
So since we're gonna get into it right now.
Yeah.
I was talking to Eliza yesterday, and she decided to watch the rest of Squid Game.
The rest of it. She only watched
She watched about half of it, so she watched the rest of it last night. And then I was like, hey, if you get to a certain part in it, tell me what the fuck that's about.
And she knew exactly what part it was.
Is there a symbolism for it?
Yeah.
Or like what? Yeah, she texted me earlier and she's like, were you talking about the hair? And I was like, yeah, what the fuck? And she's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I'm like, does it represent blood? And she's like, I don't know, man. Like, okay, well, she was my go-to for any kind of extra Korean information.
Right.
Like,
yeah, she's very immersed in the culture.
Dude, she gets South Korean shit. She's like, yeah, I mean, in most K-drama, you know, they have those like glam up moments, but
not that.
I don't know what the fuck was with this. And I'm like, okay, as long as we're on the same page.
I talked to my buddies about it from college, and we did bring up the hair, and they're just like, and we all kind of were just like, yeah, I think it's just to represent change, but there's a lot of ways you can represent change, and maybe this wasn't the coolest way to do it or whatever.
Yeah,
so. But yeah, and then we also talked about the ending, and we're like, we would have liked it to end a little bit different. Yeah. But it's still a good show.
I had a really good time with it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. I still haven't watched fucking, was it Midnight Mass?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I need to get around to that.
It's great. I mean, I go into something and I'm watching it and I have all these theories and I like to see how they like kind of pan out.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight Mass was very satisfying for me. Some people don't like it. Whatever. That's on them.
They're wrong.
They are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best shows ever created. You can't find a single flaw in it. Not even the things that I think are flaws, you know? It's perfect. It's the perfect It's not, you know, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Anyways, watching Squid Game and watching that, since they both came out around the same time, that's the only comparison. They're on Netflix, came out around the same time. I feel like Squid Game was better at having like crazy things going on more often, all the time. But Squid Game failed at having satisfying plot points and plot devices that you could figure out what's going to happen and stuff. There's still that whole like black market plot line that went on that I think is the most interesting part and also the least interesting part.
Yeah.
Because it literally is just like, what's happening? Oh, it's over.
Yeah. It got cut.
I stopped caring.
I did like that part. I really liked the fact that the higher ups knew what was going on. And they're like, hey, man, do whatever you want. And the whole time that was happening, I was just like, I was thinking to myself, like, how are they not getting caught? There's so many eyes and stuff. Like, and I was like, oh, this is I like this reveal. This is good. Nice touch. But yeah, you're right. It's not perfect. But this isn't a Squid Game podcast. That was last week's episode.
Yeah, but I'm still allowed to bitch about stupid shows that I like.
Yeah, you are.
I still had a good time with it. I do think people should check it out if they're curious. I don't think you're going to have like a negative experience.
My sister finished it and she was just like, yo, and she's not like the deepest thinker when it comes to like movies and stuff. She just watches things.
Well, it was entertaining as hell.
And she's like, yeah, I was like, that was crazy. And then my brother, who was also there, he's just like, what are you guys talking about? We'll talk about this. And he goes like, I'm fucking sick of people talking about it. I was just like, have you watched it yet? He's like, I refuse. I was like, okay, well then that's on you.
That's one of those things, man.
It's on you. Like everybody's going to be talking about it for at least another month.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're upset that it's all over, it's because everybody watched it. So just either do or don't, but it's, you know.
That's one of those things where it's like, I get it. I'm not upset. Then again, I have very much adjusted who I am as a person to be like, anyone can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And it's not really going to influence me at all. It's more fun to be a part of things. I used to also be like, I don't care about that. It doesn't appeal to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check it out to be a part of the conversation. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's it. I understand people wanting to stay away from certain things for specific reasons, but if your reason is everyone's talking about it, I don't like that kind of a reason.
I agree. It's like, come on, man. You're just like, you just don't want to because everybody else is there. It's like, yeah, it's fucking. I was like, it is what it is. Like,
So Well, like, if somebody were to talk shit, like we were just talking before about how you have a friend that just stopped playing World of Warcraft.
Right, yeah.
You could stop playing that game for any number of reasons, and that's totally cool by me. But if it was just like too many people are talking about it, like, that's so lame. You have a bunch of other options to not be into that. I don't know. You could just be like, it's not for me, man. Squid Game just doesn't look like it's going to be my thing.
Yeah, you can be like, I don't like, foreign films or foreign, cinemas. Like, cool, that's great. It's like, oh, I don't like subtitles, and I refuse to listen to the dub. I think dubs are bad. It's like, okay, good. That's the reason why you're going to watch it or whatever. But if you're just like, everybody's on that, and I think it's dumb, and everybody's memeing about it, and I don't get the memes, it's like, so I refuse. Like, well,
sounds like it's your fault, man. That's
your problem, dude. Like, you don't really seem to have a real reason besides you just don't want to go with the rest of the people.
It's like Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
There's a huge fan base that are fucking awful.
Horrible, yeah.
But at the same time, it didn't used to be that way. No. And people talked about it a lot. And it was just like, I don't want to watch this fucking cartoon that everyone thinks is the most amazing thing ever. And it's fine. It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's fine. But the fan base is awful. And if you said, I don't want to get into the show because I hate the fan base, it's just like,
fair.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I hate being a part of that fan base, but God, I just gotta be who I am, and it's a total piece of garbage.
Dude, Steven Universe is similar.
I actually haven't even watched the most recent Rick and Morty. Like, I don't have Cartoon Network on my like cable package anymore, and it's not streaming anywhere. And I was just like, I guess I just don't get to watch this season. And I was just like, you know what? That's okay. And I was talking to my friend from high school, and I remember I put him on, like, hey, you should check out Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. And he got around to it. He really enjoyed it. And so he's like, I saw him recently. He's like, yo, dude, season 5. I'm like, yeah, or whatever. He's like, I'm not going to watch it because I can't. I explained it. He goes, but that's your favorite show. And I was like, that is not my favorite show. I was like, but you said it was your favorite show. I was like, maybe at the time that it was on, like, this is my favorite show that's airing, because that was new. It was like, but I'm going to say right now, definitively 2021, Juan's going to be like, Rick and Morty is not my favorite show of all time.
What the fuck, dude?
No, it's Squid
Can
Games.
You stop
the best show
right
of all
now
time
because
is
I'm not
Squid Games.
Just fucking so messy, man.
Yeah, so I was like, I mean, I'll watch it. I absolutely will watch season 5 when it is streaming somewhere and I can watch it all at once. And I guess avoid the memes. Like, if anyone drops Rick and Morty stuff, like cool, just scroll right past it because I don't get the context. Not a big deal. So.
Even if it's, who cares?
Yeah, who's gonna spoil Rick and Morty for me? It's like, Rick died. It's like,
okay,
so I'm sure he's not really dead. Let's keep going.
And that's, I think, one of the things with fan bases is that they go so intense and so insane over stuff. They start putting their own opinions onto other people, and it can become awful. Especially in the anime community, I feel like there are certain things where people completely just push everyone else away. Mm-hmm. In VTuber communities, people are pretty open, but there's also a lot of people that hate VTubers for some reason. There's so much vitriol in enjoyment of media. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is wrong with people, dude? I just want to watch my anime boyfriends and girlfriends have a good time. That's all I'm looking for.
As long as we can all agree that written word is the worst thing ever, and that books are the devil. We burn those.
Exactly.
That's all.
Fuck books.
Fuck books.
We are here.
Consume media.
And we just talk. We use words, but we don't look at them.
I refuse to read.
Yep, exactly.
Anyways. How you been?
This week has been pretty fast. It's been mellow, but it's also been
a lot of Final Fantasy.
I missed an entire day of life thanks to anime.
Yeah, I saw. Were you watching it with Kyle? I think I was
on Saturday.
Hopped on the Discord and I was like, oh, they're going hard. Like you could hover over. I was like, what's going on here? I was just like, cool. I got to animate. Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, there was a lot.
But yeah. Good for you.
So lots of anime, lots of games have been coming out. Back 4 Blood just came out, which is still impossible to play with 2 people.
Right.
I just started playing some Deltarune, which is an Undertale sequel type thing, which is a lot of fun. I've been cracking up at that.
Is it like you had had played the other game to enjoy this game, or like it's the same people that made it, or
it's the same guy,
same story? Are you the same character or no?
So.
Explain this the best you can without spoiling everything. Right?
I will try my best.
Let's
Undertale
go.
has a couple of different stories that you could get from it, depending on how you play the game. Mm-hmm. And all of the characters in that seem like they're also in Deltarune, which is an anagram of Undertale.
No way. And for people playing at home, an anagram is when you mix up letters like not Mars. I want you to unscramble that at home. It's Tom Nasser.
It is. It is. It was bizarre because getting into it, I knew nothing about it.
Okay.
And I think that that's the best way to go into these games. But I think that the comedy is still there.
Same
if anything, it's more in the forefront.
Same
than it
gameplay,
used to
like
be.
game style or stuff, are different. Because I remember seeing people play Undertale.
I don't want to get because I feel like the gameplay is also a part about it that
Spoilers,
changes as it goes on, and it is spoilers. I've only played it the way that I'm playing it, which there are similar things in Deltarune and Undertale where you don't have to kill enemies.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you options, so you don't have to fight them at all.
You can compliment them or
talk
like
out
that,
your fight. Yeah, compliment, insult, whatever it needs to be. Just fuck Jerry. That's the only. Jerry's a piece of shit.
Jesus.
His jokes aren't funny at all. That motherfucker should just be dead. Fuck you, Jerry. So yeah, we leave Jerry out of the group every time that happens. He's a character in an early area in Undertale. He just shows up, and then he always tries to tag in with a group of enemies. And he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here too." And they're like, "We don't like you, Jerry." And then if you just ignore Jerry, he'll disappear because he's all sad.
He's
it's great.
He's probably gonna be the main bad guy at the very end.
It's all good. Fuck Jerry though. But yeah, going into Deltarune, it has a similar thing where you just talk out your fights and you make stuff work out and don't have to kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also different gameplay and similar gameplay. You're controlling more characters and different stuff happens because of that. So the way that you do your actions is different than just one person being like, "You want a hug?" It's like, all right, there are three of us and we all have to do certain things, but also not at the same time. The important thing is at some point in the game, you name your team and you all have to put names in a hat for what your team will be. And it's very obvious, like whose name suggestion is whose based off of the description of the paper. So I chose the one that was all crumbled up from the bully character that's with you. So you're named the Fuck Squad or something. I actually don't know what the swear is because it's a level 2 swear. So I don't have access to that yet.
Okay.
So you're some kind of a swear squad. It's fantastic.
Is it just like scribbled out? Like it's like stars and asterisks and stuff like that?
It's like $! Exclamation point
nice.
Stuff,
cool.
you know?
Okay.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's full of heart and emotion. And if you do have that connection with Undertale already, you will familiarize yourself with characters in different environments that aren't the same people.
Do you call yourself the Swear Squad or just the Blank Squad, or is it just the squad?
It's the Name Squad.
Name Squad? Like when it was written...
$! Exclamation point,
squad.
$! Exclamation point, whatever the fuck it is.
Just curious.
Yeah. But that was also just a little bit from the first chapter. Seems like chapter 2, a lot of stuff's different. But it doesn't really get too emotional. It gives you backstory behind everything, and the character's really interesting and sweet. And I was overwhelmingly excited when I was playing it. Just being such a big fan of Undertale, I was putting off Deltarune because it was coming out one chapter at a time, and I was just like, I'm going to wait for all of it to come out before I touch it. Well, chapter 2 came out and a meme started going around that was like, "Chris, where the fuck are we?" So I was like, what the hell is that? I need to get into this game. If I'm seeing memes about it, I need to get into it and actually take care of it. So yeah, I got through the first chapter and just, I kind of do want to take my time because I appreciate it so much. I don't want to burn myself out and then be like, oh, no, I have to wait forever. So I'm going to, probably play it in a few days.
Yeah. And you can't stay too far away from Final Fantasy, so
that's true. We also have Metroid Dread,
which
I haven't touched yet.
It's the new Metroid, right?
Yeah, it's the fifth Metroid.
Is it a platformer kind of thing, or is it a 3D?
It's a Metroidvania side scroller, where you're being hunted down the entire time. And I hear it's pretty hard from somebody who is remarkably good at video games.
Thank you.
From you. No, from my buddy Sam. He's played about 3 hours. He's like, dude, it's way harder than I expected. I'm like, that's awesome. I love hearing that. Because I love games like Hollow Knight, which is one of the hardest Metroidvania platformer type games. And it sounds pretty similar.
Is there a new Metroid game on the Switch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nintendo exclusive on the Switch.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that, but nothing substantial going on with that yet. Just a Oh man, I'm going to tell you about it. People are excited, so I'm getting excited. But there's so much out, like I said.
Right.
Back for Blood. Been playing Final Fantasy. Deltarune Chapter 2. Got to play that. And I don't think I've been consuming a lot of media outside of all that, but I did rewatch The Mummy, and it was a great day.
Okay.
Let me just tell you, Brendan Fraser is protagonist in that. I don't think that would be quite the protagonist today. It starts out with him being imprisoned, and then a couple of people come over and they find out he's the one that knows how to get to the secret place that they need to go to. And since he's about to die anyways, he just grabs the girl and like kisses her. Yeah. And it's just like, bro, that's assault. And then he goes and he's supposed to get hung. And she's like, wait, I'll save his life.
Yeah.
That whole thing would not fly in today's movies, but everything else in it felt like, yeah, okay.
Don't they? Oh, no, that's Zorro. He does fall. It hangs, right? And like it just doesn't break. And then like they're
like, cool, we get to watch him suffocate now.
Like, it didn't break his neck or whatever. He's just like choking or whatever. Yeah,
that's him.
Yeah. I remember watching The Mummy probably like a year ago. It's a good movie, man.
It's fun.
But yeah.
Now I have to watch the sequel, which has been a while too.
Yeah.
So, I hear that it's worse because...
You've never seen The Mummy Returns?
I have seen it.
Oh, okay.
I'm an adult who hasn't seen it in... like 15 years.
I can tell you everything about it.
So my memories of it are, this movie fucking rules.
The movie does rule.
Me now, I'm like, I remember there being like a little kid as a main character who gets dragged around and cries the whole time.
Yeah, he put on the
scorpion bracelet.
Yeah.
I remember like all of the movie, the way that the plot points happen, the parts that I had the most fun at, the jungle scene where darts are going everywhere.
That's my favorite bit.
The little dudes.
My favorite bit is when the younger brother, her younger older brother, Jonathan's just he's like, oh, we're safe here. Like those rocks are in a like special secret safe. Like they can't get in there. It's like
Jonathan being the fuck up.
Yeah, and then the dude jumps and then he gets stabbed by the little like I don't know those little pygmies or whatever. Yeah,
pygmy mummy thing.
And then he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, and he like runs away. He's like, yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Garbo.
So I remember like all of the movie. Everything that happens,
Scorpion
all
King.
of the parts that I like, the great CG,
amazing CG,
all the amazing things. So yeah, I want to revisit it and see if I still feel the same way.
I've never seen The Mummy 3.
That's okay.
The one where they go to China or whatever.
I've seen it once.
Never saw it.
Don't see it.
Yeah, I heard
no reason.
It was like it came out in theaters like for sure several years after Mummy 2, and I was just like, they're making this movie, and I was like, I can't go.
So you remember how I watched Rush Hour a little bit ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So similar to that. I grouped The Mummy and Rush Hour together.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I fucking loved 1 and 2 of both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Great movies, totally different, but also they're just like action comedy movies. Rush Hour 3 came out.
Right.
I watched both of the Rush Hours, and then I watched Rush Hour 3. It was a whole time. We made a day of it. Everyone had a blast. I don't know if I ever want to watch that movie again.
The third Rush Hour.
Did the same thing with The Mummy. Don't think I would ever want to watch that again. It was within the same year. We were just like, yeah, let's do it. They're making a third one. Let's do it. Let's watch it. No.
At least you know your limits.
Yeah. Turns out not worth it. But I watched The Mummy, so that was pretty fun.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Nothing else. I tried rewatching some Muppets. And then I got distracted.
Yeah, we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which ones did you try?
79, the original Muppets movie.
Okay.
Was having a good time, but I also was just like,
not really
this is just attention. Like a solid 70s movie. It was like 79, so it was almost 80s, but it still had that very 70s feel. But still, all the jokes, solid jokes. Just kind of that old school 70s style that I don't... Look, man, I majored in film for a while. I've watched so many goddamn movies from that era, and
the classics.
I can't even tell you which ones I would recommend to anybody. I don't think I would.
It's the golden age of movies.
What's your favorite movie from the 70s, man?
I don't know. I don't like 70s movies.
You a shampoo guy? You like shampoo?
I don't think I've ever heard
You're more
of
of a Jaws guy, right?
Jaws wasn't
You're
that
a big
great
Jaws
either.
fan?
Not a fan of Jaws, no.
Animal House? You're an Animal House
really
guy.
don't like Animal House.
Oh, okay.
But it's a classic. What's the one? What's the one with the...
Oh, you're a Porky's guy.
Yeah, Porky's 2, thank you. No. Okay. What's the one with the... Are you trying to seduce me, Mrs. Robinson? What's that one?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
You know what that one is?
Yeah, never heard of it.
Fucker. The Graduate. Is that... Mm-hmm. It's called The Graduate.
It is. Dustin Hoffman, right?
Yeah, that's the ticket. That's the stuff.
You know, that one actually I haven't seen, but I have seen probably an hour of it.
Enough of it, yeah. And you're like, I get it.
There was somebody that in my film class that was like 60s, 70s eras films. Mm-hmm. This fucker referenced The Graduate every single chance he could get, and would show big ass clips, but never wanted to watch the movie. He just wanted to use it for every reference. Like, he'll talk about another movie and draw it back to The Graduate and never show it in his class. And I'm like, isn't that shitty instructing?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the first film to show us and then be like, look, I know it's out of order, but I'm going to use this as a reference point and we'll be able to do that. He never did. And that's one of the reasons that the education system is fucked up, is because even the things that people are passionate about that don't goddamn matter, they still don't put enough work into it.
When Strip starts rambling about the education system, we know we're fucked. Damn education. Fucking brick and mortar.
Fuckers. It's okay. I don't need to get into my own qualms. It's all good. The point is, I've seen some of The Graduate. Yeah. Dustin Hoffman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
That scene where they're in the area with some windows.
Yes.
There's some nice plants. That's that scene that you were talking about.
The ending bit. I like the ending bit a lot.
The ending bit?
No, there's the ending bit later. And I was just,
where he shoots himself?
No, that's not The Graduate.
Okay.
That's The Joker.
Yeah, my bad. Whoa, spoilers for The Joker. I've never heard of The Joker before.
You've seen The Joker.
What is The Joker? No, actually, I've never seen it. Never want to see it. Yeah. It's because I don't like people that watch The Joker. And I don't want to be a part of those. Everyone was talking about it. And I'm just fucking sick of people talking
about this movie.
Sick of people talking about The Joker. No, I've never seen it, but I'm not very interested in it just because I've heard the Joker story again and again.
Yeah.
And even if it's done really well by an actor that I absolutely love,
this were good.
I'm tired of it. It's just, whatever. Hey, did you hear that What If doesn't goddamn matter?
No, because I haven't watched any of the What If yet.
So there was a big plot point that was like, hey, man, check it out. This is some crazy shit. It's probably going to be a part of these next movies. And then the next episode was just like, nah, we're good.
Makes sense.
But I guess I probably shouldn't spoil it because Venom 2 just came out.
Yes.
But I will say that you might want to if you do see the movie, stick around for the stinger.
Okay. I usually do. Yeah. So don't talk to me like a fucking child.
I don't know, man.
Don't spoil it. I am watching it, though.
Yeah, no, I won't spoil any of it. I'm not
that guy.
Look, man, I didn't watch Venom.
I did.
I'm not going to watch Venom 2.
I'm
not that interested.
I'm not either.
But the best parts about the movie that I've heard about, pretty cool.
My friend, the same buddy that I was talking about, the Rick and Morty guy, he's like, hey, man, he texted me, he's like, hey, have you watched Venom 2 yet? And I was like, no, I haven't watched Venom 1. I'm not planning on watching Venom 2. And he goes, hey, man, will you watch Venom 2 with me, because I can't get anybody else to watch with me.
Sure, yeah.
And I was just like, I mean, he has a wife that works and goes to school and has they have 2 daughters. I was like, I can't imagine not having. It's hard to. I was like, all right, man, I'll do you solid. I'll watch Venom 1. So I watched Venom 1, and then I got back. I texted him like, hey, man, finish Venom 1, and he was just like, and question mark. And I was like, and he was just like, and then I didn't even get time to respond because the next text came in. It was just like, tell me you loved it. And I was just like, oh no. And so I hit him back up like, look, man, I didn't love it. There's a lot of problems. It is pretty dumb, but I am willing to watch Venom 2 with you. And the next text was, fuck yeah, let's go, boys. And I was like, okay, cool, as long as he's not discouraged. So I'm going to be watching Venom 2 with him. And then I talked to it with my college friends, and they're like, you didn't like Venom? I was like, not really. I didn't like the special effects. I thought it looked pretty good. I was like, I thought parts of it looked really shit, but each their own.
So there's a dude I follow who I like named James Willems. He's great. And he has been making a joke for a while. He's been saying mount up for Morbius, which is a character from...
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, okay, cool.
He's the vampire dude, yeah.
Exactly.
Jared Leto's playing him.
So there's a movie that's coming out, and it is related to the whole Venom universe, this whole thing.
He's from the Spider-Man universe, but Sony's just like...
They're separate.
But Sony's just like, we're going to do all... And that's one of my biggest issues with the Venom movie. I was just like, they're doing all of it without Spider-Man. And they're like, Yeah, but I was like, no.
Honestly, who cares about Spider-Man?
I love Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's the worst character in Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's the best character.
I love Spider-Man.
He's my favorite.
Peter Parker's my boy.
Yeah.
Miles Morales my boy.
So good.
And I'm not familiar with the other one, so I won't say anything.
Gwen Stacy's a Spider-Gwen, I guess.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen. I'm not as familiar with Gwen Stacy, but I am from just Into the Spider-Verse. Long story short, James Willems... He's been doing his Mount Up for Morbius,
right?
He's been doing that bit, and then it's been like delayed and canceled for a long time. But he's talked about Venom, how bad it is for the different reasons. But he's like, I still love it, but it's awful.
Yeah.
So fuck it, it's not a good movie. So then when the Venom 2 trailer came out, he was like, I've never done this before, but I'm just gonna have my reaction to this trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Let's go. And he's like laughing through the whole thing. Like, this looks fucking awful. I can't believe they're serious about this. So because of that, he made his initial impressions of Venom 2. And essentially he says, hey, Venom 1, not a great movie. Special effects were pretty bad. So I'm going to compare like all of that stuff. But if you look at, a lot of people have said, if you look at it as a buddy cop kind of movie, it's a lot more fun. So I think that people are doing that retroactively. I don't think that was their idea when they made Venom. But if you do think of it that way, you will have a better time, which is kind of a bullshit excuse. But for the second movie, that's actually what they did with the intent. So you're going to have a better time if you go into it thinking that for the first one. But the second one is legitimately what you would expect. Yeah. So if you do go into Venom 2, just know that you're going to have a better time than Venom 1. The graphics are going to be better.
Yeah.
They're not going to be afraid of animating in light.
Yeah.
Which is one of the biggest problems with all these superhero things.
Oh, I know.
The dark action scenes where you're like, what the fuck is going on? No idea what the fuck's going on. But yeah, just
I'm sure it's not going to be great, but I was like, it can't be as bad as 1.
No, it won't. But since you are going to see it, I do know a couple of things you're going to have a great time with. I know the after the credits thing that you'll also enjoy.
I know. You told me. I'll stay for the singer. Don't worry about it.
I'm very excited for you to come back and review it on this podcast.
I will. I'll give a dim-depth
It was
review.
good. Yeah, I had a good time. It was fun.
My expectations right now would be like I don't know, 6 out of 10. Like that's what I'm going in hoping for a 6. A little better than halfway. We'll see if it holds up to that 6.
I think a 6 is a very good.
It's not like at 5 is like nothing, and then
no, you're giving it a little more credit than it might deserve after the first movie, but you're being optimistic.
I am. That's going like I'm hoping to enjoy at least that much,
and it might be a 7. Dude.
Who knows?
It could be a 7.
Could be a 6.5.
Could be. That would be big for you, man.
No,
that would be a big time because then you would almost be right on it, but you would still get a better experience. 6.5 is what I'm hoping for.
If I come back and I'm like, dude, it's a 5, I'm like, that kind of sucks. Should have just watched Venom again.
Should have just watched Venom again.
Yeah.
Which is our new slogan.
Should have just watched Venom again.
Yeah. Instagram podcast. That's how we will now be reviewing shows. Violet Evergarden, the movie.
Should have just watched Venom again.
I disagree. You should just watch Violet Evergarden, the movie.
Well, that's where I have my stance. Okay.
So that's where we're going to differ a little bit, but that's okay.
That's fine.
We don't need to be on the same page about everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy. And that's my week.
Nice.
But no, I've been fucking obsessed with it just because I'm really enjoying all these the cutscenes in the story. And
did they release something new or just getting to a really good point in it or something?
Each point throughout the game that different stuff happens, it's like, okay, everything's pretty much the same. And now we're at the end, so things are a little bit more grand. And then you finish the base game and you do the post base game stuff. And it's like, oh, immediately this is a little bit better. Okay, cool. And then after that, you get into the first expansion, Heaven's Word, and everything feels better and different immediately. And then you get into the next expansion. So I'm in Stormblood right now,
and it's
much better,
nice.
And it's just more entertaining in a lot of different ways for me.
It's good.
Yeah, just been having an absolute blast. But it's done some Kingdom Hearts bullshit, which cracks me up. All this oh, we're the good guys, and oh, they're the bad guys. Oh, the good guys and bad guys aren't so different. Even though you're on the light side and we're on the dark side, we're the same team. That kind of shit, you know? Like fucking Kingdom Hearts bullshit. And since it's the same company that made Kingdom Hearts, every time that something happens, I'm just pulling it back to Kingdom Hearts, being like, how much bullshit is this? Like a character was actually pretending to be their relative, and we've never heard about the character that they actually are. So they just go, that person's gone. It's me, actually. And you go, weird reveal, but all right, dude. Cool, I'm vibing with you. Yeah, you
not the smoothest transition, but yeah.
No. But they're just little things like that where I'm like, this story is goofy, but at other times I'm just so compelled because there's so much, and they do a good job at like showing you how each little area ties into the world that it does. You could talk to everyone around the like main person that initiates the cutscene or the dialogue, like a big old block of dialogue. You talk to everyone around and they kind of add more to it, or like you learn more about them and their reactions to things outside of how serious stuff goes. You get to learn about like, okay, do they like this area? Like, how are they feeling about this new zone we're in? How's everything go? It's just interesting how they're able to make the entire story more robust by just talking to the people ambiently to learn more about them and how their roles in the story might change and whatnot before they're kind of happening, just based off of what they're saying.
It sounds okay. Yeah, well,
it's intriguing, it's fun, and I can't fucking stop playing. It's a good time.
I'm glad you did stop playing. So we eventually have to talk about the podcast, so.
Which is great. Yeah, I love talking.
But I like how you're like, just a little more.
Dude, it's really fucked up how much I keep going. I'll just push it a little more. Last night, okay, I'll just get to this new area and then I'll call it good. And I'm like, now that I'm here, I better go and do all these things.
Might as well look around. Might as well sell some stuff.
I gotta do this. Oh man, look at all those things on the map that I gotta do.
Look at that nice fishing spot over there.
Just everything. Actually, I did become obsessed with one thing that one of my buddies, Cole, helped me out with. I got to a new area, and immediately you go in, and it's like, oh man, everything's so gorgeous and so cool. There's like a lamp post that a couple of people are standing on, and I'm like, how the fuck did they get there? There's also a thing on it that you need to get for like you could go to different areas that are good for sightseeing. It'll have like a good view or something like that. This one is literally just a fuck you, try to get to me. Like, that's the whole deal with that. So there's a giant tower where you find like a little tiny piece of wood jutting off to the side, and you're like, oh, I'm going to jump on that. And you fall a series of tiny little pieces of wood sticking out. You climb up this entire tower after like forever, all these difficult angled jumps with little like, oh yeah, it's easier to do it this way and that way. And this part, you have to make sure that you use your speed buff, stuff like that. You make it to the top and it's like, hey, you get a lookout point up here. Now jump the fuck down there. I'm just like, oh no. All right. Fucked up my first jump. Damn. Second time.
He died?
Dude, no, you can't die from fall damage in the game.
No
you drop
way.
down to 1 health.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if an enemy attacks you, then
you're dead.
Hey, remember earlier how I was making jokes about surface tension and not directly addressing it?
What are you talking about?
Jet skis and stuff. I think maybe it was.
No, we did. Yeah, we were talking about that. You can't. It doesn't matter how hard or how high you hit water from whatever speed or distance, you'll never die, or you'll always be okay.
Exactly, yeah, because it's water, so you're fine.
It's soft.
Yeah. I really like this element of Final Fantasy 14, where no matter what it is, it has that surface tension. It's going to be water. If you hit it, your mount runs away, you go down to 1 health. Like, you're just fucking smashing onto water, my guy.
That's funny.
And I really appreciate that. As far as like world immersion goes, they're like, we still have surface tension, but you can't die still.
Yeah,
don't worry,
like
bro.
you really hurt.
Yeah,
but you're not dead yet.
Like, your bones are shattered, but they're just gonna recongeal.
Just take a potion, do you right?
But yeah, so I fucking did this jumping puzzle. It took me forever to do it, and Cole was joining me. Once I got up like a little bit, I was like, I think I'm doing good, and then he caught up to me, and I'm like, okay,
this guy's a little better at jumping.
You know how you do the jumping puzzles. Yeah, and then went up a second time with him and was like, holy shit, we did it. It'd been like a couple of hours of me doing this. And
it took you a couple hours at the top?
I whiffed the second jump.
It took you 2 hours at the top, and then you
twice.
Okay, and you fucked up both times?
Yeah. So then the third time I did it.
Did it take you another hour?
It took me like 30-ish minutes, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. It wasn't as bad. I'd done it plenty of times, but it's still like, oh man, my hand hurts. I'm nervous. I'm like doing all this, My thumb hurt because I don't use my thumb for anything for this particular thing other than to hold my mouse exactly the way it needs to be. Otherwise, I fuck everything up. So afterwards, I was like, it hurts to bend my thumb. What did I do? Fucking wild.
It's like,
man.
oh, you fucking carpal tunnels. Really?
Yeah, it was wild. But yeah, it was so stupid. The first time I made the jump, I barely overshot it. So I was like, really, man? I like jumped at the very edge of the building. I guess I'll do it again. And then this time I was like, maybe if I just run straight off, that'll be good enough. That way I don't get that extra air from the jump. I made it like halfway. So then I had to do it the third time. I was like, I'll just jump a tiny bit early. And it worked.
That's nice.
It was just, you had to do it more than once or get really lucky the first time.
Yeah.
That's my Final Fantasy 14 time. I'm very proud of that because it was hard as fuck. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I'm in a new town. I can't wait to go check it all out. I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna do the jumping puzzle first. Yeah,
like, I saw this, so I have to do it. So.
I know this isn't the main quest, but for me right now, this is the main quest.
This is the most important thing. I don't care that we're having a big old political feud. I'm trying to jump.
Yeah,
and I did, and it was awful.
Good job.
That's been my week, man. How have you been? What have you been up to? Missed you.
Nothing. Did nothing. Keep pushing. No.
Okay. I mean, hey, man, if you wanna. If you
just forego my week. This week I skipped this week. I play the skip card. Can be back next week.
You did some school.
Did school. It's going all right. We're working on our quadruped idol, quadruped creature enemy idol. It's interesting. I've never done a creature that's a quadruped, and I was like, so that should be good to learn. We had to show him our like the silhouette. They said, like, hey, this is the pose we're going for first. We had to make 9 poses, give them all like descriptions, like this pose emotes these 3 feelings or these 3 words.
Yeah.
And then, then he kind of went over them with us and was like, hey, like, I don't know if this one will really work. I don't really feel this word for this pose or this. And he's like, these poses are the strongest. These need the most work. And then from those, we kind of picked what we were going with.
For sure.
So I was like, cool. All right. I'll pick this one. Like the one I decided is like, he's the one he said, like, this is probably the most ready to kind of get going with. So like, okay, cool. Started animating it. On Sunday, we had our critiques, and, we're showing our stuff, and he had to push class back, so we didn't have enough time, but like a bunch of time to work on it. So he's like, hey, I understand we don't have much time to work on it. Just let me know, like, what you touched, what you didn't touch, what you're going to touch, like, just kind of where you're at. I was like, okay, cool. So I told him my thing. He's like, any problems, anything you need to talk about? I was like, yeah, man, can't figure out what to do with the hips. It's kind of acting funny or whatever. He's like, all right, let me pop it in. So he pops it into Maya, and he's like looking at it. He's like, oh, I get what you're saying. It kind of moves. He's like, oh, shouldn't do that. Oh, shouldn't do that. Oh, this is really broken. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. He's just like, okay. And so he kept looking. He did a bunch of troubleshoot. We talked to another classmate who's using the same rig. And the other classmate, we asked him, like, how are you dealing with this issue? And he's just like, oh, I'm just not touching that controller.
Nah, fuck that, man.
Yeah,
that's how I'm dealing with it.
He's like, I saw that shit was broken. I'm just not fucking with it.
I'm out.
I was like, oh, cool. All right. And so like, then he and I talked privately, and he was like, yeah, to get the motion of that, like, I'm using this controller that's next to it. He's like, but my pose also is more forward heavy than back heavy, so like his hips don't need to move that much. I was like, I can't do that. My hips need to move. I'm all about hip action.
Are you making Shakira?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Shakira on all 4.
When I was animating it, like I was like, okay, cool, let's get some motion. It's because like the idea is he wants there to be like kind of break up the body into segments, like hip, chest, head. Those all should kind of move and overlap and stuff. I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, cool. I went chest, head, hips, and I started moving the hips, and I started playing it. I was like, this guy looks like he's just like giving it, like just fucking, just banging shit out. Like it just looked very provocative. I was like, I need to change this. I was like, and I didn't see it until after I was done moving it, and I was just like, yeah, my dragon is just fucking something that's not in front of it, like invisibly fucking something.
Have you heard?
I don't know where this is going, but no, I obviously haven't.
It's been a long time now, but there's a subreddit dedicated to dragons fucking
I have
cars.
heard about this, actually. Yeah. No.
If you can just get a model of a car
and put it in front,
put it in, I'm sure that you could get a lot of internet clout if you want. Just a heads up in case you need that.
They need to fall back on stuff. It's like, yo, this is the guy that animates dragons fucking cars. Like, yep, that's me.
Hey, man.
And anyways,
it sells.
We kept talking about it. Like, and he kept trying to solve it. Like, hey, maybe we can do this, do that. And then after like 20, 30 minutes of him like troubleshooting, he goes, yeah, man, looks like there's not an easy fix to this. It's just kind of broken. It's kind of power through it, I guess. Let's talk about your animation. And then he's like, starts talking about my animations, and he's like, maybe like work this hip. It feels kind of, and I was like, yeah, we just talked about why the hip feels that way, because it's broken. And he was like, oh yeah, that's right. I will figure it out. Like, I was just like, fuck.
This class is paying for itself. Yeah. This is so great.
The rig isn't great. None of the rigs are like bulletproof, but I mean,
it's something.
People have been able to do it. It's also, I mean, I'm not going to say like, hey, it's preparing us for the real world. But in the real world, things don't always work the way it is. You got to figure out. So it's like, in a perfect world, you would be like, cool, man. Here's the rig. We fixed it. It does everything it's supposed to do when you do it. Now just animate. But that's not the world we live in. So it's like, cool. I still have to do the assignment. I've already sunk time into this. I have to make sure it's doing. So I've just been working on that.
That's rough.
Yeah. But it's looking okay for like, in like my opinion. I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know. Cause I do feel like this is uncharted territory for me. Like, especially the creature element to stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's just like, so whatever I do, I'm just excited to show it to him and be like, what do you think? How can I improve? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Kind of stuff. So I have been watching like animal reference. I've been watching like bulls and like rams butting heads. I watch some pit bulls, and that's because the idea is like, obviously there's not a dragon out in the world. Not a real dragon. I know there's dragons fucking cars on Reddit.
Yeah, there are lots of dragons in the world. Yeah,
but like I can't like just like, what do this looks like? So like I have to pick other elements of other creatures and try to like combine and be like, these are the elements I want this animal to kind of.
Are you trying to do it like Pokemon style? Like in the recent Pokemon, you would take two different fossils and put them together and make the dumbest looking motherfucker you've ever seen? Yes. Or are you trying to actually like put some care and effort into it?
I'm trying to make it just look like I don't want it to look dumb. I just want it to look like, if someone saw like, yeah, I believe that creature could move that way, right? Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, that looks funny. I want it to be like, yeah, that dragon does, does look noble, does look fearless, does look strong. Like those, like that, the words that I picked, like, I wanted to emote those feelings. Even though the animations that I like or like isn't like the most realistic, I was like, but for this, I want to be able to kind of get that conveyed or whatever. So it's been a
hell of a week.
Yeah. So I'm still working on it. This past week, Sierra also had her birthday.
Happy birthday,
Sierra. We went to the Red Tavern. I've never been there before, but it's supposed to be like a nice restaurant here in town.
It's all right.
It's not bad. Like I went in, I was like, cool. We ordered stuff. I ordered like a Portuguese seafood stew. I was like,
holy shit, you're fancy.
It's pretty good. It wasn't the best. Sierra ordered like nothing really spoke to her, but she's like, kind of. She wanted one thing, but she's like, if this linguine had, chicken on it, like I'd get that. And I was just like, you could probably ask for them to put chicken on it. They probably do it. And she's like, you think so? I was like, yeah, I have a feeling they'll do it, And so
they just take a chicken breast, dude,
and put it on there. And she's just like, hey, can you put chicken on this? And she goes like, oh yeah, for sure. And he's like, that's what I want. And I'm like, cool, as long as you're happy. Boom. It's your birthday, get whatever you want.
Best birthday ever.
Yeah. The food comes out and her chicken, like, she's like looking at it and it's kind of pink.
Yeah.
And she's just like, hey, like, what do you think? I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, like, I would be like, if that were me, like, I wouldn't eat that. Like, I think it's there. And then so we called someone down, like, hey, like, and we didn't want to make a big deal out of it. We're just like, hey, like, the chicken's a little pink, too pink for our liking. Would you mind just taking it back and like firing up just,
like
a little bit longer?
We don't need you to do anything special for us.
And we're not complaining. We're not saying like, get this away from us. Like, she'll still eat this plate of food. Just heat up the chicken a little bit longer. She's like, okay, sure, no problem. So she took it back. And then I don't think she was our waitress either. I think she was just another waitress that must have been there longer or whatever. She came up to us like, hey, I just want to talk to you guys about the chicken. We're like, sure,
what's up, dude?
Whatever, and she's just like, yeah. So the style, the style that we cook our chicken, we was it sous vide? We sous vide it.
Yeah.
It's like, which means, and I'm like, yeah, it's like I know. And she's like, we put it in a little bag and we boil it or whatever. So like, yeah, it might look pink and underdone, but it is cooked, perfectly fine. So like, so even though it might look pink, it's totally all the way cooked. We're like, cool, that's fine. Like, we'd still like it. I would still prefer it if it was, cooked.
Make it white, bro.
Like I'd rather have it dry than any kind of version of pink, And she's like, just so you guys know, like, cool, we know, thank you for make me feel dumb or whatever. But I wasn't gonna complain about it, and I didn't, And then she comes back out, and then our waitress was like, hey, is the chicken fine? We're like, yeah, it's fine now. Like,
now it's good.
It's cooked,
There's no problem.
Besides that, I was like, you know what? The place was okay. I still would probably in the future be like, cool, let's go to the Fifth Street Steakhouse. Like, it's for the price that I paid. I probably enjoyed that food more. So
yeah, man,
nice place.
I'm
though.
with you.
Yeah.
Did they think you were gay?
Why did they? No.
Okay. That's just us then.
That's
not you and Sierra.
I was there with my wife, so
it's pretty gay.
I was wearing my "I'm gay" shirt though.
Mm?
Oh, I shouldn't have worn that shirt. For people who don't know, Trip and I went to a steakhouse in a town that's kind of next to our town for Valentine's Day.
Which we had never tried this place before, but we had heard good things. Yeah. So that's why I compare it to the Red Tavern story right now.
We'll go to it. And it was Valentine's Day, and there was a time where she would always go out of town for Valentine's Day because of the Ag World Expo or whatever. And she always had to work it. And so Trip and I would just be each other's dates. And we went to our dinner, and our waiter was just the biggest dick because he thought we were gay. Like
bro, I know it's Valentine's Day, but like we're literally just trying to blow each other and get out of here.
Dude, but the way he was looking at us was just like, I was like, yo, dude, you never seen two boys just boy out in front of each other?
Man, this guy doesn't have any boys.
This guy's lame.
This guy sucks.
And, yeah. So that's, for people who don't know, that's where that story's coming from.
That's where. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I want to roll it back and give you an option to talk about two different things that I need to bring up.
Okay.
Do you want to bring up a fetish thing or a Minecraft thing?
Fetish.
All right, perfect. So you remember how I talked about dragons fucking cars and how specific that is?
Yes.
You remember minutes ago when that happened?
Yeah, I do. I can't forget.
Have you heard about the guy, just one dude online who...
fucked his car?
No.
Okay.
He constantly finds new artists and commissions them to make him some kind of a drawing. Usually it's a cartoonish drawing of a white woman with blonde hair. I think those are requirements. Buying Wonder Bread, like a fuck ton of Wonder Bread, like too much, saying like very anti-Semitic things.
Hold on. So the artist has to draw this and then make a word bubble where the person...
It depends on the artist, what they're okay with.
Yeah.
A lot of the times just starts out with, can you make this woman buy like a fuck ton of Wonder Bread? And then it gets further and further because they keep commissioning and seeing how far he can take it.
Now, is this guy doing this as like a joke, or this is actually something he enjoys and gets his like rocks off?
He has spent so much money on it that if it's a joke, it's the best joke of all time.
Has he videotaped these? Like, is he YouTube it? Like, he's like, hey, this week I asked this person to do this.
He's anonymous.
That's interesting.
He will approach different people, though, so everyone knows him.
I have never been approached by the guy that wants me.
Well, you haven't really put your art out there too much.
A blonde woman with giant tits buying Wonder Bread.
I did not say giant tits.
That's what I heard. That's honestly what I heard.
Thought.
No. Hit me up, dude. I'll get you going. I know what you want.
I already got a plan. It's all up here. Giant tits? That's in there.
Done.
That's in there.
I'm going to start with the tits and work my way out.
Yeah, there's that guy.
That's funny.
He exists.
But never heard of that guy.
When you were talking about modeling your character, there are 3 new Minecraft mobs that might come out based off of votes.
Okay.
And I always think it's interesting when they do that, when they leave it up to the community to decide, hey, what should we be making right now?
That's how Ninja ends up in Fall Guys. No, he donated money or something.
He donated money, yeah. But essentially it comes down to they make the models, they have a plan, but they haven't programmed everything yet, right? So they have the option of a little shrub guy, just like a couple of eyes, and he's made out of leaves and can like open up the top part of the shrub and you see his eyes or whatever.
Is this supposed to be like a playable model character or like...
No, this is just an enemy.
Okay.
This is like a monster. There is... a little floating blue guy that can get the players helpful items if you give them something. And there's a copper golem. There's already a snow golem and iron golems. But now you could get a copper one that will eventually...
drop copper?
No, it will oxidize, so it'll become a statue.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It will press copper buttons, I think, as well. So you could do weird, like, programmy stuff with it. So right now it's tied pretty evenly between the thing that gives you helpful stuff and this thing that is literally a new part of Minecraft. Like both of them are.
The golem.
Yeah, the golem, they add in copper buttons, which isn't a thing. And the fact that it does oxidize and turn into a statue also gives you incentive to... Now you have a new kind of button and you have a new like feature that you could put places. You can just oxidize different golems and have them like gargoyle-y type situation.
Is it free to vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone gets to vote. I just think it's interesting when they are like, we have an idea for everything and we know what we want to do. But
let us know what you want. Yeah.
You guys to have the most fun. I always appreciate that.
Which one do you vote for?
I haven't voted because I don't know where to vote. I didn't look at that part. I just see these conversations and I go, cool, I'll come across it later.
Okay, just top of the dome, not much thought. Which one do you like the most to vote for?
The flying thing.
The flying exit stuff?
Because I don't understand what that is and I want to see it.
All right, everybody go now. Vote for the flying thing.
But no, the copper thing, to me, that sounds like the most interesting for people that play a lot of Minecraft. Mm-hmm. For people that don't, like me, they're all pretty good options, but I am interested in like, oh, what kind of useful items? Like, how does that work?
I like how the one is like, what's this one? It's just a new enemy. Nah, I'll pass on that.
I don't know the deal with it. People don't seem excited, so.
Yeah.
It does look cute. Anyways, I had to bring those up just because they're kind of topical. One of them being a fetish that you love hearing about.
Yes.
And I already have plans about. And the other one being a game that you can't stop playing.
Which I speedrun every night.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is straight to sleep. Let's see what else happened this week. I mentioned to you, I think off the pod that I got reconnected with like my 5th grade teacher.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think we talked about it on the pod.
Talked about it last week, yeah.
He saw an article that was written about my family restaurant. And he then came to the restaurant, like left a note to my sister, and I got it. And it was like a really nice note, essentially saying like, hey, good job on the article. This is my number. It'd be cool to meet up and talk. And so I hit him up when I was in Hawaii, and then he made plans to meet him up, and he kind of ghosted me for a week.
You went to Hawaii?
Yeah, I told you about that. We talked about that last week. We're not talking about it again.
Okay.
He ghosted me for a week, and then I think the day of the pod, he texted me back. I guess he sold his house here in Chico, and he's moving to Portland. I was like, oh, cool.
Peace out,
I was like, no wonder you've been super busy. And he's like, we should meet up, though. I was like, okay, cool. So this week I got to meet up. We went to like a place here in town, and we had like a small lunch and had a couple beers. I had a couple beers. He had one. I had one. There was 2 beers ordered. He was old. He is old. He's like 70. So I was like, maybe he can't do more than a beer, you know? It's also like 1:00. So
yeah, man.
So I was like, maybe, I don't know what his nap schedule is like, but it was really cool to see him. I haven't seen him in 17 years. And it was just nice to chat. And he's like, he was telling me like, he likes to, when he's not on social media, is like, so whenever he sees a student like out in the world, he likes to try to reach out and see how they're doing and like what's up with their lives. And like, that's really cool. And we got to talk, and I had questions for him that like, I don't know, like maybe I'd thought about a bunch in the past, or like leading up to seeing him. I was like, oh, maybe I should ask him about this and stuff. He, like me, is first generation Mexican.
Shout outs to Mexico.
Shout out to only the first generation.
Only the first gen. Fucking hate the
second gen. Out of here.
Gen is my least favorite gen.
Out of here. We're talking Pokemon, to be clear.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was like, I was like, hey man, like, I know what what my deal was. What's your deal? He was saying like he grew up. He like when he was 10, his dad left, and he worked on a ranch. So he like half the time he lived in the ranch, half the time he lived like in like the hood of Los Angeles. He's like I was too country for the hood. I was too hood for the country. He's like he didn't know where he was. I was like that's like sometimes I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere either. And we just kind of talked about just life and what he's done. Talked about experiences, marriage, all that stuff. I also like wanted to know like, hey, what's it like being
old?
No, what's it like being a first generation Latino in this world, especially like as a minority, especially when he worked? Because I've had a lot of teachers growing up, like obviously for school and stuff. I know you hate to talk about school, but a lot of my teachers growing up, a lot of them were women, and then the few men that I did have, most of them were white, and so he was the only teacher I had that was like looked like me, sounded like me, had the same backstory. Like so, like I always kind of connected with him. I was like, what was that like? And it was just really cool to talk to someone about something that was like, I don't know, that I felt like there was like a kinship there. Not something stupid about like anime or like TV shows, like something like, something real, something deep. I was like, it was really nice. He was really cool. He was really insightful. He's a cool dude.
I was going back through all of the teachers that I've had over the years.
Yeah.
And since we grew up in like a predominantly white town.
Yeah.
I could only think of one non-white instructor I had, I think.
Who was that?
He got fired the second year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So it was his first year at the junior high school, and I was the best student in his math class. So he had me go up and teach the lessons sometimes.
And that's why he fired you.
Because he was difficult to understand for some students. He had
an
a thick accent.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he would have me come up and try to clarify what it is.
Right.
And then he got fired because you shouldn't have the students teaching the class. Yeah, it was a whole thing. But I'm like, that's the only person that I had that wasn't white in our town.
Yeah.
And it's such like a fucked up negative thing that I feel like the administration was just like, and that's why we don't hide, like, you know, just some fucking awful racist thing
that's like
that they qualified it. I'm like, the guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
These kids don't want to pay attention. He has some shitty
super
classes.
Smart, yeah.
Like the
he's
people
good at math,
in the class were constantly in the principal's office, constantly suspended and stuff. And I don't think it was his fault, but I didn't have every class with them. I just had mine.
Yeah.
Which was full of fuck ups. Half the class was like failing the class, and the other half was getting A's and B's. I don't know, man. Yeah. Anyways, fucked up town. This town, man.
I think
I totally understand that connection.
Like all my classes before 5th grade, like third grade and down, they were all white women that taught me. My 4th grade teacher was, I thought when I saw him for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this guy looks like me. Turns out he was Hawaiian. Mr. Abu, shout outs.
Dude, shout outs.
It's really nice, but a different culture. I was like, okay. And then Mr. Aguilera was my 5th grade teacher. And then from then it was like mostly, like I had a lot of women. And then like once you get into high school, middle school, like I had men teachers, but most of them were white. It was just really cool to just like to talk to him about like our culture and stuff. And it was nice. He's really insightful. He's also the guy that like taught me how to play cribbage, which is like I was telling you, like it's like an old person game, but I cherish a lot and I really enjoy it. I don't get to play it as much. So when I went to the meet and greet, I was just like, I'm gonna bring my cribbage board in my backpack, and just in case he wants to throw down, like I'm ready to throw down.
Maybe get a little bit wild.
Maybe put some money on this game. And we didn't get around to it, but I texted him later, like, hey man, like it was super cool seeing you. Like I don't know when I'll be in Portland or when you'll be in Chico, but hit me up, and if I'm there, I'll hit you up and maybe we can play a game or something. He's like, yeah. So that was really cool. That was really nice. We took a photo. I messaged some of my my junior elementary school friends that like also had him as teachers. Like, hey, check it out. Guess who I got to see? And they're all like, oh no way, he's looking great. He's really old. He's like, yeah, he's up there. But
that happens.
It was cool. And he also taught my brother. My brother, like, I talked to my brother about him. I was like, oh dude, he was super nice and stuff. He told me that he remembered me really well because I don't remember doing this, but I was like, I haven't sounds like thing I could have done. He pulled me out of class because he said I was being a shithead, and he was like calling me out and questioning me. Mind you, this is, I don't know,
you're a kid.
It's also the early 2000s and stuff. It was like, and he was old school and stuff, and I think he knew that my parents were Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff. So like he maybe wasn't like super cool with it. Most of the people he dealt with, most Latinos he dealt with, were like Catholic. He himself wasn't Catholic or religious by that fact, but I think the fact that my family was that, Jehovah's Witness, like he kind of felt some kind of way about it. So he kind of called me out. I was like, he's like, how do you think blah blah blah, like the way you're acting represents your beliefs or like the way that you were raised up. And I was just like I let him talk, and I was like, okay, I just want to let you know that you have no right to question my religious beliefs or the way I was brought up in whatever religion. Like that's uncalled for. And he's just like, you're right, that absolutely is uncalled for. I apologize. He was like, I'm gonna go inside, you take you handle this and come back when you're ready. I was just like, he's like, and so when I saw him, he was like, the other day, he's like, I just want you to know that really resonated with me. He's like,
holy shit,
and he's like,
awesome.
not to apologize, but I was just like, but I just like, I always appreciate that. I'm like, look at the balls in this kid. Told me, a grown ass man, to shut the fuck up. That this is none of his business. And he's like, you know what? And you were right, absolutely. So like, thank you for that. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks for remembering that. I hope it's okay. I was like, and because now we're adults, like we were like cursing when we spoke and stuff. Like we weren't like acting like in our roles. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up of you to say to me to say like, whatever. It was like, it happens.
I'm 100.
Yeah, I'm like 70 years old. Like fuck.
It was back when I was like 20.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So that was really cool. Let's see, wrapping up just stuff that you don't care about. Chargers 4-1.
Shout outs.
Top of the division. Top of the division. What? Okay, and the last year's Super Bowls, they weren't champions, but they were in it. The Chiefs, now they lost again. They're in the bottom of the division. The Broncos lost. I think they're second in the division. The Raiders lost, third in the division. And the Raiders just off their head coach because he got called out for saying a bunch of like racist, homophobic shit in emails for like 10 years. And he's just like, cool, I'm going to quit my job because it's over for me. And it is. So that's really
Damn,
good.
He really just made millions of dollars and backed out like that.
Yeah,
huh?
what a bitch.
What an asshole.
What sucks is like he was, I think he played football, like, and then he wasn't that good and became a coach. And he was a really good coach and he won a couple, I think he maybe won a Super Bowl or two. And then he retired and he went and did a TV show called The Gluten Grinder. And it was like late at night and it was like a sports thing. He was really animated and he was really funny. And I was like, oh, nice. So I didn't watch him when he was a coach. I just watched him when he was on The Gluten Grinder. Like that was before my time, right? And I don't know, the Raiders had been having bad seasons and not great coach and stuff. And they asked him to come back. And he's just like, oh, I'm doing this show. I've been doing it. It's really popular. And he's like, come on. They're like, all right. So he came back in and they've progressively gotten better, which is upsetting because like they're in my division and I want them to do poorly. But also I was like, cool, man. It's just football. It's just a game. It's a competition, whatever. Yeah. So my hope was that whenever he would retire, he would just go back to doing the Gluten Grinder because I enjoyed the show. But now that I know he's like a racist piece of shit, I was just like, God, man, you really fucked this up for me. Now you're not a coach and you don't have your TV show. You're really selfish, man. You're really selfish. So yeah, fuck that guy. That sucks.
Tiny jeans, hair all slicked back.
No.
Sloppy steaks.
No.
Piece of shit.
If I showed you a photo, you'd be like, that guy, but I'm not gonna.
That guy.
Lastly, in Final Fantasy, in fantasy football, I was gonna lose. It was like clandestine to happen. Like I didn't play my quarterback that I should have. I played a different quarterback. I didn't play the defense because I thought they were gonna get blown out. They scored like 19 points on my bench. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna lose. I won on the last game, Monday night game. He had his kicker. Who did I have? I had a running back that balled out. He got like 30 points. And my defense, who was not doing great because they were playing and they were losing in the game. I ended up winning by 1.93 points. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, Juan's the champion. I'm just like, yeah, super happy. My record is now 2-3. I'm still 9th in the division.
Hey,
I was like, not last place.
Hey, 1 week at a time, baby.
Yeah,
1 week at a time.
Crawling
you
back.
Got this.
Yeah.
How are you doing in the challenge fantasy?
Sierra's still in the lead.
Sierra's killing it. Shout outs to Sierra for killing it.
She's up by like 30 points. Jiro had a really good week last week. Two of his players went into elimination, but usually when they go elimination, they get a lot of screen time and stuff. So one of his players outscored my entire team last week. And I was like, God, I think he scored like over 80 points. And like, it really helped. He was in third. Now he's in a closer second. Still not like winning, but I was just like, damn, he's catching up. Steph actually did pretty good too. That's Jiro's fiance. But she's really behind. I think she scored like 50-ish points, which helps. Well, it's a big chunk, but
every point counts.
Every point counts. So, I mean, it's all right. I'm still having a good time. The show's getting close to wrapping up because like there's less and less players, so that just means there's like more points going around.
Hang on. How are you feeling about season 38 of Survivor?
42. No, 41.
Fuck. Shit. I was trying so hard. I was like, what numbers are there that I've heard of?
I actually have nothing to say about it because it comes out the day we record.
Got you.
So it's DVRing.
So last week's. So you don't care about it all.
Last week's, I already talked about it because. Oh, did I?
Why would you have if it came out when we were recording?
Didn't we record? What happened last week?
It clearly doesn't matter.
Someone went home. There's a blind side. How do I explain this? Sometimes when a player is doing really good and they're showing like all the stuff that he's getting, you're just like, that guy's going home. Like, there's no way he's not going home because they like to keep things secret. They're like, oh, what happened? Oh, I have this thing. But this guy found like an immunity idol. Then he found another advantage and he was doing really great. And then he told someone and he said, hey, look at all these things I have for us. And he's like, haha, nice. This guy's going home.
Very cool.
This season, they're also doing stuff where like every advantage that you've had that has been found has a sign in front of it that says beware. It says beware. It says beware advantage. And it says like if you want it, open it. If you don't want it, like leave this where you found it. And most people have just opened it up. They're like, okay, they'll go cool. And usually the punishment is you get this advantage, But to get this advantage, you have to do this. This stipulation needs to be met. And once you get that, you get this thing. In the meantime, you no longer have a vote, which is the worst thing ever, especially since the tribes are so small this season. It's just like, if you go into a tribe of 5 and you don't have a vote, it's like, cool. You're no longer in the majority. And you also don't want to tell people like, hey, I don't have my vote because I found this advantage and now I can't help. And they're like, good, you're out of here. So that's what happened. The dude found the advantage. I think a week ago, another guy found the advantage. This advantage is like, it's a 3-way immunity idol where there's one on every single island and everyone needs to be found. And when you go to the challenge, you have to say this statement. You have to say this line of words. And once all 3 lines have been spoken, then the things become live and your vote has been reinstated. So I was like, cool. Like, I wonder what they are. They did the great job of making them so fucking absurd that it's just like, it's really hard to somehow get this like in your conversation. So like the first line that was revealed was like, I'm starting to realize that butterflies are like the souls of our relatives coming back to say hello. So the kid that found it is like, he's I think pretty smart, but he's like in his 20s, he's young. He found it. He's like, how am I going to do this? So, before the challenge, they always chat and stuff. And it's a way for Jeff to help them get the prompt going. Like, hey, you're going to say something? And so he goes, hey, how you holding up? And he's just like, the other day is like, I was like really, it's like, I'm starving essentially. I think I'm getting kind of delirious. I was laying on the ground and I was thinking to myself. And then he said the line that he was supposed to say. And he just like waits for someone. He's waiting for the 2 people to say their lines for it to work. No one said it. So I was like, wow, what an idiot. So this week, the new guy found his line is, I've realized that broccoli are just little trees. So he has to somehow say that dumb line. And so he goes it, absolutely flubs it. People are just like, what the fuck is he saying?
So wait, I'm confused. Why are people supposed to follow up with something? And why wouldn't they?
What do you like? So you are supposed to follow up something, but they only know to follow up something if they found the thing that tells you to follow up with it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not no knowledge. So right now, only one person knew, right? So he has to say this code out and have other 2 people on different tribes say their code, right? And since no one said it, he looks like a dummy. So this guy in the second tribe found his. He's like, so he said his broccoli code, and then the butterfly guy's like, oh, I heard the code, and then he has to work his butterfly code into the game again, and then they're waiting for the last code, but it's not there. And so then these 2 guys are just like on the buoy, like waiting for their turns, and they look at each other, so they both know, like, hey, you have it, I have it, we're waiting for someone else to have it. But because people have told other people also know, they're like waiting and listening to the cryptic thing. But he looks at me and he goes like, hey, I like what you said about broccoli. And the guy goes, yeah, I totally fucked that up, didn't I? I was like, yeah, you absolutely did. That guy went home. So,
dude, rip broccoli guy.
I think his name was Brett. Yeah,
Brett the broccoli.
He did have like broccoli. He had like a kind of like a Jerry curl mullet thing going on. Really like, curly up top. It was really funny.
Sounds kind of cool.
Farmer dude just wasn't built for the game. He openly said to 2 people like, yeah, like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to vote for you or you. And people are like, what? Why would you say that? Like, you should never say that to someone's face. He's like, just trying to keep the tribe strong. And they're like,
amateur.
They're like, okay, this guy has to go. So
this guy's a wild card. We don't like it.
This is your fault. You want to talk about Survivor, so that's.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to, get you juiced up. You like your Survivors.
I do. So yeah, season 41. It's great. Great. Next episode is on tonight. Watch it tomorrow. Let you know next week.
Great.
That's it, man. That's all I've done this week besides animate. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you for sure, I have only watched new anime, which is something to be saved for a little while later.
Yeah. I think the only anime I watched has been 5 seasons of Seinfeld. Because it's on Netflix, and I decided one day I'm going to turn this on because it's something I can kind of tune out. They're only 20 minutes long.
They're not bad.
And they're really short, and they kind of go through. And yeah, they're actually not bad. I don't think I watched Seinfeld when I was younger because they were reruns when I was younger.
They still are.
Yeah, but like they weren't like
no,
there weren't like new television episodes when I was young.
Yeah.
So I never really paid it too much mind. So these are kind of playing, and it's like feels normal, and I'm doing my work and stuff. There are times where I kind of stop and like tune in, and I go, that's problematic. Just like you were saying about your Mummy movie, I was like, these jokes, these quips, these words you're using, not cool.
But at the same time, it's like a toned down It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
They are not good people.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're everything that happens, you're just like, these people fucking suck.
What's interesting is that, like
George's relationships are always fucking insane.
They're all really horrible people. They're all very, like, it's always about them. And, like, everything, they always have to find an issue with something. Nothing, they're the worst. On the other hand, the Sunny guys, they're all monsters, but they're cranked all the way, up. And
they progressively have turned into not even real people.
And I go, cool. Like, for some reason, I'm more okay with that than the Seinfeld. Because I'm like, no, fuck you. Like,
it's because they're still real people, and It's Always Sunny. They're caricatures more than anything.
Maybe that is because, when I see Seinfeld, I'm like, no, this social pleasantry is for you to stuff that issue you have and keep it inside of you and shut the fuck up and not like be a dick or like make a scene. But Jerry can't help himself. He's like, why are you doing this? Like, please, like, or like George's like, why don't you like me? You have to like me. I cannot be liked. It's like, you guys all suck.
Well, fortunate for you, I have a little anecdote that I just recently watched a clip of Jason Alexander, the actor for George Costanza. George Costanza. Anyways, he was talking about one of his earliest episodes. It was like episode 5 or 6, and there was a particular situation. And he went up to Larry David and was like, I don't know what to do for this, because this isn't how anyone would normally react to this thing.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if it's a believable thing for my character to do. And Larry David's just like, people would totally do that. That's literally a situation that happened to me, and that's what I did. So every time you see George Costanza,
like, you're just this monster.
Just remember, it's the director.
Yeah,
Larry David did all of that shit, and Curb is like a different direction. Curb Your Enthusiasm is similar to Seinfeld, but different.
Which is also something I want to eventually get into. I'm just going to finish all of Seinfeld and get around to that.
Might as well.
But there's an earlier plot in Seinfeld where they pitch the premise of Seinfeld to be they're going to make the show in the show or whatever. And they're casting themselves and stuff. And they're like, well, what do we do? And it's like, and I was like, I was having such a hard time writing. It's like literally everything that I'm like, why am I getting mad about this?
That's the joke about it.
I was like, God,
that nothing fucking matters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's the show about nothing. I was like, this show is about nothing. And it's funny is that like Sierra, I don't know. She doesn't like Seinfeld, which is fine. I mean, it's not.
She doesn't
great.
like Jack Black, so she's a fucking crazy person. But yeah, anyways.
So, sometimes like even at night, like oh, it's time to bed. Little Seinfeld, go to bed. Because I just like turn it on, and I'll eat something. The other day I was like, hey, do you mind if I put something on while we eat? She's like no, and I go, can it like you don't? And I said I can watch whatever I want, and then she goes, yeah. Wait, not Seinfeld. I was like, and I was like,
Seinfeld.
Ooh, almost had you.
So crazy.
Almost had. I'm trying to get her, but I'll get her one day.
It's great. It's got great bits. Did you happen to? Has George worked for the Yankees yet?
No.
Okay, he's got some great plot lines in that whole thing. I'm very excited for you to.
I don't know who he's working for right now. I think the most.
That's one of the things with George is that he's just like fucking scrambling and always in a weird job.
He did real estate for a bit, and then he's just like, I don't have a job, and then he was on welfare or unemployment, and then that dried up. Right now, I think the most recent episode is like they went to the Hamptons to go see a new baby that one of their friends had.
Dingo Ate Your Baby episode.
Is that one?
I'm pretty sure.
Is that this one where Kramer steals lobster from the sea? Like he
that's maybe maybe
this is the shrinkage episode where he pulls on his pants.
Maybe that was a different one. And
and she giggles at her
the shrinkage one
or his dick. He's like, I was in the pool, my dick shrunk, because it's like, all right, here we go.
That helped a lot of people understand. So shout outs to Seinfeld.
Thank you for that. I'm always coming out of the pool. That's why.
Literally, have you seen any other show that has made a reference to that experience?
I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's like a moment in Seinfeld that people remember, right?
No, like there's every time, like it's because Seinfeld's so old. When I was like would watch TV and like they would like show like later on tonight Seinfeld, they'd show clips of like the big moments. And I was like, shrinkage was one.
I was in the pool.
Shrinkage, shit like that. There's there's the Elaine coming and doing the her Fortnite dance that got involved. It's like
sure, yeah.
It's like there's just so many moments. It's like, oh, okay. Or there's this one where Kramer drinks the beer while smoking a cigarette. The classics, the hits. Shit like that. Yeah, that's it. That was the Seinfeld corner on the pod.
Dude, I'm glad that you're experiencing a weird part of my youth.
Yeah. American television. Like, interesting.
It's interesting to me because as a Seinfeld fan, I also was just reruns only. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to catch the finale. That was, not something I was aware of.
I think it came out in 98. So, it was like run from 79 to 98. Because I was talking to guys about, I was like, how old is that? She was like, I don't know. It was around in the 90s.
Yeah.
Starting the end of the 70s. Like, what?
Well, around that time, I remember there being
end of the 80s,
big television shows that like my mom liked. And I don't remember her being excited about the finale to Seinfeld, but also we watched Seinfeld a lot. So like, I don't fucking know, man, but I somehow missed out on it. And everything that I've seen of it is so just disorganized, and it's just episodes here and there that it's interesting for you. There's like an order of things. I'm like, has this happened?
When has happened?
Because I literally don't know when.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's a chill show. It's a good time.
I'll tell you when he starts working for the Yankees, but it hasn't happened yet.
Okay, because there's a lot of important stuff. Has his wife? You know what? I'm not even. No, I'm just. It's a good time. It's weird that you were watching it though.
It's just kind of something to turn on and be like, cool, it's there.
Well, Netflix has been pushing it so hard. I finished watching the Violet Evergarden movie, and then it was like, I got you. Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. You want to watch Seinfeld, don't you? And I'm like, yes, but not right now.
I'm not in the mood.
Come on, man. I've got to play Final Fantasy.
You want to do, since we're not doing anime, you want to do news?
I guess we could do the news.
Yeah,
of course I want to do the news. I do have some interesting things to tell you about this week, opposed to last week where I was like, yeah, you know how anime is. Well, okay. We have a lot of episodes kind of lined up, and this is another one for our podcast. Cowboy Bebop is going to come to Netflix worldwide on October 21st. It's the anime. Is that something we want to talk about, or are we just going to hold off until we get that live action juice?
Let's do the show first, because that way we get 2 episodes out of it, and then on top of that, I don't have to watch all of the show, and then also the live action. Is it a series? It's a live action series, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's episodes taking place around the episodes in the show, in the anime.
Because I haven't watched all of Bebop. I've seen a handful of episodes, but I mean, and because it's been around for so long, I know how it ends or whatever, So it's like I was like, cool. It's one of those classics that like I'll get around to when I get around to it. But yeah, I'm down to watch all of Bebop. So
because at the time that I watched Cowboy Bebop, I was in the thick of a bunch of different good anime. Like, oh man, recommend me some good shit. I watched it and was like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Because I had just watched a bunch of things that had intricate stories that go across the entire seasons.
Right. Not like
all that stuff, right? Yeah. And Cowboy Bebop was very episodic, and I was just like, it's fun. I like certain episodes a lot. But now I feel like I would have a much better take on it compared to then.
Yeah.
Probably a lot less critical than I was at that time.
Yeah, when we were like, I'm such a snob, look at me,
So I would like to rewatch it and see how my opinion fares, because honestly, so many people have nostalgia goggles on for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's like unwarranted, and it's just like, you're going to love that, and that's fine, but don't try to get other people to love it, because Digimon is just a show for children.
Yeah.
You
try to rewatch Digimon.
Not going to help you out there. But for something like Samurai Champloo, Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, there's merit in it. It still has a lot of nostalgia. I wouldn't say Trigun is like the best fucking show of all time, but it holds a super special place in my heart. And I think it's very important for people to recognize Cowboy Bebop should just be holding that place in your heart. And we get constantly new and better anime all the time.
Right.
And I want to talk about it with you. I want to see specifically what hits right and what feels old.
Yeah, it still might be a banger. I am excited.
It will be probably
to see the live action thing, because I'm interested in how they're going to do that, because I seen some set stuff and I was like, this is pretty. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, I think I feel the same way about like, I don't know, I was like Beyblade. The other day I was like, I went down a real Beyblade wormhole, and I was just like, I watched the shit out of this. I was like, I can't, or Metabots also.
I was going to say, I could go on a Metabots ride and just be like, and I was just like, this is garbage. I still like it.
Yeah, I've tried it. It's not. It doesn't. It's just. I was a dumb kid.
That won't hold up at all, because at least like there might be some nostalgia, some merit. One that I know won't hold up is Fighting Foodons.
I have gone back to it.
It does not.
Such a nightmare. Yeah. God, it's so bad. Cool. Cowboy Bebop's coming to Netflix. Dope.
So, Wit Studio,
Heard of them?
this amazing studio that we love from when they started making Attack on Titan into they're making The Great Pretender and all that stuff.
Mhm.
You know, they lost $4.5 million, 501 million yen during this last fiscal year, which is it's a pretty solid loss for an anime industry.
They also didn't continue doing Attack on Titan. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
Let me tell you the shows that they are working on right now.
okay, The Little Prince.
No, hang on. The Girl on the Other Side, Grimm, Moonrise, Vampire in the Garden, Osama Ranking.
That's the one I was talking about. The King ranking. Yeah, that's one I really want to watch.
Yeah. So the thing about them is, while you really want to watch it, you're familiar with Wit,
But,
and
yeah.
we kind of like have
No
an
one else knows
idea.
what that is.
Nobody's gonna know.
Vampire in the Garden, you said?
Yeah, all of these. You ever heard of any of them? You heard of one of them, and it's only because we talked about it pretty recently.
Yeah.
Wit's not making any projects that are like big ass money makers like Attack on Titan was.
Yeah.
So they might be operating at a loss for a little bit, which would be an absolute shame. They are trying to do more original stuff, which The Great Pretender was original, and I loved every goddamn episode. It's one of my favorite anime, and it surprised the hell out of me.
Didn't win a single Crunchyroll award, though. Politics.
So anyways, I'm excited for what they're going to do, but it's a huge bummer to hear that they have lost money
Yeah.
and they're not picking up the biggest thing of all time like they previously did.
Yeah, well, keep your head in there. Wit, hopefully they can bounce back. But, I mean, I'm excited. They're a good studio. Yeah.
Yeah. So the director, Kenji Kamiya, has said that he would love to continue the Ninth Jedi story that he started in Star Wars Visions.
Okay.
And that he has a entire story mapped out for it.
Do you recall what studio that was? Or do you remember watching that one? Because I haven't seen Visions yet. So was this one that you remember being good or not
this
good?
This is one that I would have liked to see more
Okay,
of.
cool.
Yeah. There's a few plot lines in Star Wars Visions that I think could continue on in the Ninth Jedi. Yeah.
There's one of them that you're like, it's up there.
That's one where it was like, oh man, this is surprising. This is something different that I wasn't expecting. This is some good anime.
They're pretty good.
Cool. It was decent Star Wars, but it was good anime.
Maybe who knows? Maybe Disney will let them do it if the price is right.
I would love that. Whatever. It could happen. It could not. But I just like.
But he said it.
Rumor.
He said he's like, hey man, this is what I want to do.
Spreading rumors. It's gonna happen.
It's got to manifest that in the world.
Speaking of World's End Harem has delayed to January 2022.
No.
I know. Yeah, it was supposed to come out this season. It's not. Sorry.
Fuck. All right, whatever. I just watched the other shows that are here.
So there's a Hololive YouTuber, Oozora Subara, and they're going to have a voice in Lupin III Part VI.
Oh, yeah, it's right. Part 6 is coming out.
So more VTubers doing cool shit. It just makes sense.
You think? Well, okay. Do you think that he's gonna just have like a normal character voice, or do you think they're gonna somehow make it so like he's
pretty sure
voicing
it's a
some
woman.
she's voicing some sort of VTube-ish thing in the thing, like a not real person avatar thing,
Well, that's the thing, is that I think that they have these voices that are connected to anime characters already.
Okay.
And that they can have different voices and they have different personalities for like when they're doing streams and stuff, act different ways. They're all different levels of who is playing a character and who is being themselves in Hololive. I'm not familiar with this particular person, but I would assume that because they're hired for a voice acting role, that they are probably pretty good at like taking on these characters and doing certain stuff. It's interesting to see. It's similar to like YouTube stars being in movies and shit.
Yeah.
Like that started happening. It was like, whoa, what the fuck? What are you doing, Kasim G in Transformers?
What's this Vine guy doing here?
What's this motherfucking doing in
go do your TikTok dance.
Oh, what was that? Project X? Was that the name of it?
Was that the one where they did that really crazy party?
Yeah. Anyway, lots of YouTubers in that. Just weird shit. So it's kind of like that. We're getting two bizarre worlds coming together.
Wasn't that weird ice cream dude in Project X? You showed me that like as I mean.
Yes, Dax Flame. Okay. Dax Flame was. Okay, yeah. Ice Cream Man. I forgot about that little mini doc.
Yeah, that was a pretty good doc.
It was fun. So yeah, totally different than that. Belle, the new movie by Mamoru Hosoda, the boy that we love, who makes all the good things that we love.
Yeah.
You know him? Yeah.
Love him.
The U.S. release date is going to be January 14th, 2022.
That's actually really close, man.
I'm so excited.
It's only like a few months.
I love it. This looks like a Beauty and the Beast meets Summer Wars kind of thing.
Belle.
Right?
Nice.
Belle, yeah.
I get it.
That's the way it's looking. Holy shit, I hope so. I hope we get something good. I don't know what it's going to be, but yeah. And then this is not anime news, but I think it is important for everybody that's ever been on the internet. Smash Mouth, the lead singer, is retiring. He is retired.
Did you really put this in the news?
Yeah. Well, this is a serious thing, man. This just happened because there's a woman who's a fan of Smash Mouth who went to their concert and recorded it and then posted some TikToks and was like, I am the biggest Smash Mouth fan. I love them because they are pure chaos. This last show that I just went to was insane and showed a bunch of clips of like the lead singer being crazy and coherent. They had a ton of mic feedback. The people in the audience were like drunk and crazy. The lead singer literally threatened somebody's entire family, said, I'm going to fucking kill your whole family on stage. Bunch of crazy shit. And she just posted that. And then news outlets suddenly picked it up and they showed it everywhere, right? Then she was like, I didn't want to get like TikTok popular for this. I don't want them to get like this kind of attention. But since we're here, here's some more.
Oh my
and
God.
Posted more, and it was also awful. After that, then the lead singer was like, I'm retiring. Like, I need some help.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this right now, and I need to take care of myself, and I'm retiring. And she posted another TikTok and was like, I did not want this. I did not ask for this. She's a legit fan and loves them. She went to their concert for them, you know, like it wasn't just something else.
She murdered Smash Mouth. That's
so she destroyed Smash Mouth just by posting one TikTok that gained way more traction than expected. So a moment of silence for Smash Mouth. Violet Evergarden is a fantastic show. They decided to make 2 movies, and we are reviewing the second one, which directly continues the show.
Yeah, the second movie, the first movie that came out was more or less
it was a side story.
A couple episodes. It felt like extra episodes that they make it to the show. So
a couple episodes that somehow wound up tying together in certain ways. It was a really good.
It was good though.
Yeah, it was really good. I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good.
This movie I've been waiting for about a year now.
Okay.
It came out during COVID. It was a difficult project for them to work on. There was also the arson attack. Like there was a lot of shit that happened to Kyoto Animation.
Yeah.
Who has, Kyoto Animation's made some amazing things that we absolutely love. Sound Euphonium is one of my favorite goddamn shows of all time. Kyoto Animation also made, what was that fucking thing that I was just going to say? A Silent Voice, my favorite movie. Anyways, Kyoto Animation, they make beautiful things, and Violet Evergarden is one of the most beautiful things they've ever made.
Yeah, for sure.
So going into this movie, without, spoiling a whole lot, we already know the story of Violet. This is more of her story instead of beforehand. This is her going forward, and how is her emotional complexion going to wrap up, I guess.
Yeah,
is the goal of this thing.
Well, in the show, there is like the cliffhanger at the very end of the first season, right? And
which fuck you,
yeah,
show, not you. You're a great one.
Okay,
I love
sorry.
you, but fuck you, show. How dare you end on a cliffhanger for like 3 goddamn years?
And it wasn't even like a really good one. It's just like oh hey, and it's like, what does that mean?
Oh hey,
and no one knew anything. And
why
then
are you excited?
And they were like, cool, season 2.
Season 2.
That first movie came out. We're like, is this it? Nope, not actually continuation.
No.
So it was kind of okay, so you're gonna finish it. So it felt like they're finishing.
Felt like I had to watch this, or I wasn't doing my job as a fan.
Yeah, I almost feel like if we wouldn't have watched that last bit, I could have never watched any more about Evergarden. Besides me wanting to watch it because it looks good, right? It's just like I could have been like, oh cool, it's done, it's wrapped up, but she's doing her thing.
Clearly, if you're a Violet Evergarden fan, you want to watch this. It's on Netflix. You can go and watch it right now and still enjoy it. I will just say Netflix has weird problems with subtitles sometimes. So every once in a while, a character says a line, and then you're like, I wonder what they said. and it flashes on the screen and it switches to the next line right away. And you're like, you son of a bitch, you tricked me.
And I've been doing I did dub just because I watched the original one subbed, and then I rewatched Violet Evergarden later. I've seen it, and then I watched the dub. I was like, cool. So I was like, let's dub this bitch up.
Yeah.
So, good dub.
If you haven't seen the show, though, I do highly recommend it if you're looking for a beautiful, emotional story. It's a bit heavy-handed with certain stuff.
You really couldn't, I feel like, watch this movie without knowing what's going on.
No.
Like, it's like not one of those. Like, you have to be into Violet Evergarden to finish this. It's essentially season 2. You know, like So, like, you know, if you're a fan, this is for sure worth it. If you haven't seen Violet Evergarden before, you should watch the first show because it's really good.
And then watch not this movie, but the other movie,
Memories of a Auto Mechanic.
She's an auto memory doll.
But isn't that what it's called? The movie's like Side. I don't know what it's called. What's the name of the movie?
Side Story.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not going to try to remember it.
So that's good. And then if you want, after you watch all of that, you can watch this.
And if you make it to the end here, it was all right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with Violet Evergarden. It was still a good time. I enjoyed watching all of it. The conclusion, similar to every horror movie that exists, it really came down to the conclusion of this to depend on whether or not I liked it. Mm-hmm. It was okay. I had really good times. The highs were high, but then the low was pretty, for me, low.
I feel like the end bit that was like my least favorite part of this was I don't know, just it's at points of it made me feel a little problematic, a little uncomfortable, and I was just like, I guess it was. The way they handled it was the best way they could have handled it, you know? And I know you and I have a differing opinions of like what we thought and
we don't, but I am lying to myself.
Okay, so then we both agree that it's the way it ended it's very clearly in a way that we don't agree with, and it's uncomfortable.
We'll get into it a little bit more.
Yeah, but all that being said, it's, you know, it was still like a really good watch. It still looks really great. It's, you know, it's still Kyoto Animation. It's still Violet Evergarden. I think the thing that I was kind of disappointed about was the show tugged on a lot of heartstrings in different ways. Like it was like there was like romance. There was also like, you know, the love between like a mother and a daughter. You know, between a wife and her husband. You know, just like a lot of different scenarios, and it made me cry in different occasions and multiple occasions, right?
In different ways. Like the whole story of Violet Evergarden is about somebody who is a very broken person trying to understand other people's emotions and relay their emotions in the most beautiful words possible
to other people, right?
Yeah. Essentially, this person has a job where she writes letters for people, and she's the goddamn best. But she had to overcome a lot to become good at it. Mm-hmm. So we get to see her emotional growth and her own like strength in persevering through each new issue of living a regular life. Not to get too into it, but she lost both of her arms in an incident. Yeah, in an incident in the war. So she has to like learn how to use her arms and type and read and do like everything essentially as a teenager. And we get to see her with different people as she's improving herself, like or somebody else is growing that she's friends with, or a client of hers who she's writing a letter on their behalf, or letters. This movie it had a little bit of that just because they felt like they needed to, and that was the strongest part.
Yeah, and you know, the movie was 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Like it was like in my opinion too long. Like I was there, like, God, there's so much going on. Why is this going on? And I was like, oh, it's because they added that story, that element, the Violet Evergarden stuff that I like from the show. They put that in the movie, and I was just like, if that's not there, this movie's over. Like it wraps up super quick. It was the best part.
It was the best part, and it was elevated thanks to the other plot line that I didn't care as much about, which initially I would have cared a lot about it, but I stopped caring about it in between all of this fucking time from the first season to now.
I think it is that plot line. My biggest issue was like I was like super in it because it's the beginning part. And I was like, I was like, yes, like, oh my God, I'm getting all these emotions. I didn't cry, but I was like, oh, I'm super excited. And then by the end of it, I was just like, that fell super flat in my opinion. Like that's just what a dud.
I think that a lot of the problems with this movie honestly come from our preconceived notions about it.
Oh yeah, we want it to be here, and it's just like it can never be there. We can never reach that high. You know?
I think a lot of it comes down to that because the show hit those highs.
What?
And the movie that we saw still stayed up there. We were like, it was just kind of like another episode.
Really
but
good episode.
It was a great episode.
Yeah.
That was our initial review of when it aired in theaters. And now this movie,
it's hard to stick that ending, right? Hard to stick the landing, right? You're like, oh, how do you?
Well, because didn't the movie, the side story came out about a year or so after?
Yeah, it feels like
after the initial Violet Evergarden series. So we were still away from it for a period of time, and
God,
then we got some
so
more.
Sad. Really... I don't want to cry. I'm just remembering it, like,
dude, remember when they danced?
Shut up! Shut your fucking mouth.
Dance wasn't sad.
So beautiful.
But yeah, I would rather watch every single part of Violet Evergarden outside of this movie. That's not to say it was a bad movie.
Yeah,
I think that it was fine. But it really didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, I agree. But still a good time, just not the best time. And like I said, like this movie didn't make me cry. And I was like, I was kind of looking forward to crying because like, oh yeah, time for some Violet Evergarden.
I let myself have it.
Time for these really, I was like, time for these tears to come out, and I was just like, nothing, dude. Fucking, I've been hardened by the world. It just nothing gets me.
It wasn't at the end that
it wasn't that part that got you. Okay,
it was not at the end. I could tell you that.
I was before that.
It was a while before.
Yeah,
it was in the lighthouse. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, brutal. Yeah,
that was a good time for me to watch it all.
It feels good. But yeah, this thing didn't hit that spot. But
all right. I guess since you've probably watched Violet Evergarden or are never going to watch it at this point, Juan and I are going to talk about the plot and why we didn't like it and why we did like it. I don't think we necessarily need to spoil the entirety of the plot because that's a little much, especially for people that are just listening and don't have any interest in watching it.
Yeah, we just get to like this is the part.
This is the stuff that we didn't fucking like, and this is the stuff that we did fucking like.
For sure.
Let's talk about what we didn't like first, and then talk about the parts that we did like, because I think that I only have one thing I didn't like, but I really didn't fucking like it, and then the rest of it I liked. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off, you know?
Okay, so the issue is there's a very problematic relationship between Violet, our main character, and the Major, who I don't know what's his real name. I always call him the Major, right?
Gilbert.
Yeah,
and his name is Gilbert now.
Oh, it's Gilbert. They said it in the English. I was like Gilbert. I was like, way to go.
They really went for it because in Japanese, Gilbert.
Yeah, as opposed to Gilbert.
Hey.
Yeah, so
it was hella funny to me because I'm just like, oh no, it's spelt the same, but it's pronounced Gilbert now instead of Gilbert. And then we started joking. I'm like, my name's Chris now. Chris with the CH, not with the K, like it normally is. So, it was just a really stupid, funny thing. But as a Japanese person who doesn't speak English very much, isn't familiar with the ton of English names and stuff.
Yeah. They changed
sure,
it.
man.
The dub's fixed.
Gilbert's fine. And then Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Whoa!
It's a different person.
Where's he from? I've never heard of that
What
name.
a fancy name.
Anyways,
so they have
their relationship.
It's problematic because from in the earlier show, you know, she essentially worked for him and as like a weapon of war, you know.
Yeah.
She followed him.
She was a little like rascal.
She was an orphan that got like, you know, saved by him, and she killed a bunch of people, and like she lived and died. Essentially, she was like her like bulldog, you know, her attack.
Yeah.
And
she was the attack helicopter of the group. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the Apache helicopter of the group. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a girl.
That's her. She's falling from the sky again.
And, you know, she, you know, has developed feelings for him, and the thing is, like, for the show, we're like, cool, like, it can be just as simple as, like, I love you the way, you know, a child loves their parent or something. Or like,
because it was great that they were just like, I love you. Oh, man, she's never had anybody that has said that. That's fucking rough.
Or it can even be, like, the way, like, a friend loves another friend. Like, I love you, right?
Dude,
like,
I tell my homies I love them all the time.
Too, yeah.
I love you.
Love you, too.
I always say that, and then it's true.
Yeah. So it's like, so we're like, cool, we can do that. So the fact that, like, in this movie and near the end of it, they they finally get together and they rekindle.
They talk it out.
They talk it out after a long time of them
scream at
them
each
not
other.
wanting to talk it out because of bullshit. It's like we can see that, and we're hinted at it because she's like typing letters and stuff. But she's learned that she loves him, but loves him in a romantic sense. And we're like, well, that's kind of problematic. And then
just because she was literally brainwashed,
she knew nothing.
She was made to just obey this man.
She was taught to like read and speak and all this stuff.
Which again, this guy, he's fantastic. He's a great guy for everything that he did for her in their situation that they happen to be in
the past.
Still terrible time. But he did treat her as a human, which is something she wasn't used to.
Oh yeah, he absolutely. It's interesting. He was like, my goal was to make you. I wanted you to enjoy life. I wanted you you were a child. Like, yeah, I did take you to war and I made you kill a bunch of people with me, but that's the scenario we're in or whatever.
That's just life.
And that was war essentially, right? So like they get to this point in the movie where it's like now war's not there. They're both older. She's 18. They make it very clear that she's an adult now, right?
She's an adult.
We don't know how old he is, but it doesn't matter how old he is. He's obviously older than her, and he also like conveys his feelings for her and says like, "Hey, I love you." And it's like the way he says it and the way we hear it, it's like it's really obvious. Like, oh shit, like this is also in a romantic sense.
This is a problem.
This is now upsetting. And there's like, it's just like, oh, like I want to like this, and then he does a bit where like he's like, I want you to stay with me on this island. I want you to live with me here, and just like,
how are you going to disobey the commands of the person that you've never disobeyed a command from?
She still calls him Major, right? She doesn't call him by his first name. The first thing he says, like, oh, I need you to understand that, like, I'm no longer your superior officer. Like, that's done. But because she's so fucking ingrained in her head, he's only ever been the major to her, right? So she's like, she's damaged. She's hurt. Like, she's got that, that
she's not like, she's not a normal person.
It's not complete. She's not like all the way there. It's like, it's so, and
she's 18.
Yeah.
She's not there. She should not be marrying this like 50-year-old. Somewhere between 20 and 50-year-old man.
She's been through a lot of shit. And if the man that you literally would have died for, who gave you everything, says, I want you to stay here with me on this island. She's like, yes, master, whatever
Plus,
you want,
I'm in love with you. And it's just, it feels a bit manipulative. It feels a bit weird. That's not to say this wouldn't happen, but...
Even before that, like, there's a point where, like, he finally comes to terms, like, I want to see her. I'm being stupid. And he's, like, running to see her. And, like, he yells out at her and she hears him, and then he yells like, Violet, come here or whatever, right? Like a dog, the way a man calls his pet over to him, right? And she runs and jumps off the boat, and I was like, that is too much. That, like, I get it, like, oh, how sweet, how caring they.
Oh, it's a grand romantic
gesture. How lovely. I was like,
man.
But also this really feels like, I mean, it feels like grooming, right? Something we want to avoid, like to say, but it does feel like, oh, he groomed this.
That's
this child
how it feels
to now be his partner, and the movie ends with we don't see a kiss. I'm really happy we didn't see a kiss.
Because I was so worried they didn't show anything. I was like, good. And then there was a little clip.
They were like
after the credits.
They were like, is it pinky promising?
They were pinky promising on a bed.
On a bed, and like her stuff was there. Like she had a bag with like a stuffed doll there, like a stuffed toy. I'm like, oh, you see, like all these elements. There's like she still feels so immature, right? Like
fucked up.
And I get it. It's all supposed to be sweet and romantic, but it feels wrong, right? Yeah. I'm like, I feel bad about this.
So, since they never explicitly say what their relationship is, I'm okay with lying to myself and saying they definitely did not get together romantically. But I know that I'm lying to myself.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I can't lie to myself to that point. I'm like, in my heart of hearts, I know that they become a thing.
I just don't want them to fuck up Violet Evergarden like this, man.
They get married. They share their lives together. Now, at the end, the credits are running or whatever. And Sierra said, like, do you think they had children together? And I said, no.
I don't want to fucking think about it, Sierra.
It was really good. It's like, I was able to, like, I'm not able to lie to myself and be like, hey, there's no way they didn't get married. It's like,
no, clearly no.
I can make myself believe, you like, you know what? They probably didn't have kids because they're like, the world's so fucked up. Why would we bring more kids into this world? Let them be too. They essentially have an island full of orphans that they teach in schools. Like, they probably don't need that. That's probably something that's not a part of their lives. I was like, so at that sense, I'm like, good. At least that didn't happen. Not to say they don't fucking get down and do it. I'm sure they do.
I think especially because Violet has had these children that she's written letters for.
Yeah.
and she's written letters on behalf of children now. That's one of the plots of this movie,
which is good.
I think that she might avoid having kids, but also knows how much love there is in a child. So there's a possibility, but it could really go either way.
I think because it is an island of orphans, of islands of kids who have lost their fathers, and maybe even some of their mothers, for sure their fathers, right? Like there's that in my head. I'm like, I'm down to have myself believe like they probably don't have kids, and then just like help the kids that live there, because everybody in the in that little island that she went to, because the main character from the very beginning, from the flash forward, eventually ends up there at the end. She's talking to the normal postman. He's like, oh yeah, we had this very famous, like they seem to all know her. She seems to be like a staple of this little island, even though to everybody else, she disappeared when she turned 18, but she made a huge community made a huge impact in whatever this community of this island was. Yeah. So I'm just like, cool. Everybody was probably her child. She probably loved everyone. So that's why I'm like, cool. Okay, that's it. But they for sure, in my eyes, end up being married and stuff like that. So, which I was like, that sucks. But again,
it does.
I was saying, this line of like this really taboo thing, they towed it really well, and they did it the best they could for me to be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not really happy with
I don't approve of it. But I don't think that any problems happened because of it.
I think
everything wound up being peaceful and good after the fact. So it wound up being fine. How we got there, a little bit fucky, but
whatever.
It's all good.
I think it would have been. I think it would have been really cool if they met up and they talked, because Violet, when she was talking to him, couldn't speak. She couldn't say a fucking word. Right? It was all him. It was a very long scene that's very, I feel like, drawn out. So there's no real conclusion from either of them. We don't hear either of them say anything besides "I love you" and then "Violet, blah, I want you to stay with me." So it's like, if they did the thing, if they had another scene where there's some dialogue or whatever, maybe it could have been cleared up. Yeah. But it wasn't.
Well, that's the thing we didn't like. The things that I did like,
what do you like?
Is that the movie takes place both like 100 years in the future and in the past.
The telephone has been invented.
Yeah, the telephone has been invented, and that's one of the problems that we see in the past. They are now facing issues because people don't want to write letters, because they could just call people up now. So there's not really a need for auto memory dolls.
Wait till they get text.
Ooh. Yeah, shit's going to get wild. So I think that they handled that whole issue really well at showing like, oh yeah, it was transitioned. Like this whole building used to be an auto memory doll building, but now it's a museum. Yeah. And Iris, I believe, was the old woman who worked there.
Yeah, she's supposed to be.
I've always liked Iris. So just cool to see that.
I kind of wanted there to be a flash forward of a little more of them, like to see like if
anyone else is around.
I see how old they are. It's like an older version of them. But I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with seeing what we got.
At least we got to see one.
Yeah, see one. We got to see the chick that did like the playwright, right? She we got a flashback of what she looks like, and then like her hair's now up. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe we'll get some more of that for everybody else. We didn't, not really, but
it's okay. We just get to see little things. I like that they were able to just touch on little bits and be like, oh yeah, look at this, check out that.
I like the environment because it changed, right? Like the tower was finally finished or whatever. I was like, oh nice, that's cool. That's how I can tell that, like, because they were doing construction earlier.
So there's progression.
Yeah, and now it's cool. Done. Oh, there's telephone wires everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty nice.
But then I also liked how they revealed that, oh yeah, there's this stamp that's only from this island. And then finally at the end, you get to see it's of Violet.
Did you think it was going to be her? I had no clue what it was going to be.
I honestly didn't even, I just thought, oh yeah, it was just going to be, some special from only this island. And I thought that was a tip off as like, oh yeah, this is where, Violet's from.
It
and all
literally
that.
was a photo of her.
Yeah. It was just literally her. I was so fucking like, oh, and it's Violet. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
It was all great. But that was a nice element. And then, of course, the fact that they were doing the actual story of Violet helping somebody is a nice thing. This kid it always winds up being like, you don't quite know the relationship, and then you wind up going, this is a good person. Yeah. Like every single time.
He's like, oh, this guy's a dick. Why is he such a dick to Violet? And he's like, oh, he's probably like dying or something.
And then he's dying or something.
Yeah.
So his whole thing was really emotional, and they did a good job at building up to that, and then just completely abandoning it for like a while.
Yeah.
And then they were like,
oh shit, this goes going on.
Is she around? That one chick that is having a giant breakdown right now? Is she around? Because this person's dying. So it was just like Violet gets to experience those emotions. And then she didn't finish writing the letter that she was supposed to finish writing. Mm-hmm. And because she's on this island, it would take her 3 days to even get back. There were so many little things going on.
That's the part that killed me too, because I was just like, oh my God, you got to be there for the kid. Yeah. And he's just like, it's going to take 3 days to get there. I'm like, you fucked up so bad, Violet.
Yeah, I was like, this is the worst. You fucked up so bad.
Like, I feel so bad for you and this kid in this situation. Yeah, they send the other doll person. She's like, who the fuck are you? You're not Violet. She's like, no, I'm not Violet.
I'm Iris. I'm pretty cool, though.
I can write a letter too.
But one of the things about that I like so much is that at this point, we were still like, okay, the Major's got some stuff that he's got to deal with before he's able to address Violet. And yeah. It's going to wind up happening probably because that's what the movie's about. So, okay. At this point, it wasn't problematic.
No, not yet.
It was all right. So I was feeling pretty emotional when she had to decide between whether she tries to meet this person that means so much to her that refuses to meet with her, or try to like help this kid out. It was really tumultuous situation, and I definitely was having a harder time getting through that personally.
You know, another part I really liked, the Major's brother, the captain, right? Yeah. He in this movie in the show, he's a dick. And, like, we see a little bit of, they can be an okay person.
He's whatever.
But in this one, like, we see him, like, you know what? He also lost his brother.
He's still a dick.
Yeah. But he knows he's a dick.
Every single thing that happens is like, I'm the asshole. Fuck you, man.
This is why I'm a dick, Like, like his brother also passed away. Like, his mom passed away. So he's just like, I also deal with this. He goes, I think at one point Violet says, like, your other relatives. And I think he realizes he has no other relatives. Like, it's just him, right? Because to his knowledge, his brother died, right? Like, he doesn't know this shit. So, like, he's like, we're selling the boat, giving away all these toys, and like we see like his relationship with his father and why he is the way he is and the way the Major was. Like, it's like there's like I like that he developed more, and I really like the part when the president like holds him by the collar, it's like about to punch him, and he's just like, no, I'm apologizing because I'm growing and I understand that. I'm an asshole and I don't know how to speak to people. I was just like, yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah.
And then
his conversation with his brother
was good too.
He's being like, did you know she's been leaving flowers at our mom's grave
every month?
You son of a goddamn bitch. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I am with you, dude. I am upset at this guy as well. I think he's kind of a shit dude for just like up and leaving, but at the same time, I get it. I get it, my guy.
He was just like, hey man, I was going to apologize and say I'm really sorry. But now, fuck you.
Fuck you.
I was just like, yeah, you fucking tell him. And he was being a good older brother. He's like, hey, man, you don't want to hear this. You need to hear this. I was like, man. So surprisingly, he ended up being one of my favorite characters of the movie. Yeah.
Lots of really good stuff in this. I think that they added more to characters and that made it good. They were able to do the same thing that they've always done and that makes it good. Yeah. And for certain people that probably, honestly, most fans, like I don't think that we have the similar opinion of most people that watch anime.
Yeah, we don't. We might go a little too hard. Yeah.
So most fans probably goddamn loved the ending of this. They were like, whatever. They should wind up together, and I just love them together. Romantic. And Bakugo and Deku are going to be so romantically involved, and it's not a toxic relationship at all. It's not fucked up. Those are the anime fans that I think of that liked the ending for this. Like it was problematic. It should have never happened, but it did, and some people are so happy about it.
I mean, I'm happy that it's done. Like, I'm happy that they concluded the story. Like, I don't ever have to be like, cool, I can't wait for more Violet Evergarden. I really enjoyed the first season. I really enjoyed that first movie that was just 2 extra episodes. Good. The second movie wasn't my favorite.
It was still good.
But I feel like I would still recommend Violet Evergarden to people. I think it's gorgeous. I think that there's amazing emotional, character development. There's just, it sounds beautiful. There's just so many positive things about this show that's like, yeah, it just really sucks that they did that at the end. Whatever. I can maybe tell people, hey, watch these two, and then maybe watch that one if you want to.
Yeah, honestly, like if you really watch these two, the last one does, it involves
it's not the best
what happened with the general. It does go over that a little bit more. So if you're interested, you can watch it. But I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. When you start watching a show like Violet Evergarden, you don't expect there to be anything extra. You expect that to just kind of be it. Mm-hmm. But then they left us with the cliffhanger.
Fuckers.
And then I was like, well, I need more if you're going to leave a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then watching that extra movie, I was like, that was nice. I could go for just more of this every once in a while.
Go for thirds, yeah.
Yeah, why not? And with this movie continuing the plot line that I was gripped by from the first season, I expected to have a better time.
Yeah.
So I do think that
just didn't meet that, right? Like
while everything was really good, if you're watching Violet Evergarden and you have the expectation that this movie isn't going to be that great, you might be in for a much better experience than we did. Not to say it was a bad experience.
No. And okay, real quick, just the last thing. The beginning bit was we see the granddaughter of the girl that got the letters from her mom, right?
Yeah.
Which is such a great episode.
Yeah, it's everyone's favorite episode.
So
Just
good.
be like, oh yeah, wait until this one, you know.
So good. And, I didn't realize that it was 50 letters. I was like, wow, that's so many.
Yeah, it was supposed to be for her whole life.
That granddaughter has issues with her, like the great granddaughter, the one that's is the one that ends up on the island. She's the one in the future. I just didn't like that because her letter seemed, because she's gonna write a letter to her parents. I would have rather them just not read what the letter was and then just have them just see them be emotionally touched by it, because it was just like, hey, mom, dad, I'm sorry or whatever, or thank you. I don't remember what it was, but I was just like, bro, that means nothing to me. It's
never going to hit in the same way that episode did.
That's why they should have just left it just let them see. I swear to God, they purposely, they absolutely purposely made the language not a real language, just random symbols. Because if somebody would have paused that, it would have been like, what does this? They would have read the letter.
They would have been like, this is a fucking bad letter.
Good call. That's so smart. They could have done that. Take advantage of that. The fact that I don't know what it says and have them be like, oh my God. It's just the whole scenario of this music's so good. I don't want someone to be like, the music's so good. Just have them have me not hear the music and me be like, wow, they must be really enjoying it. Look at them cry right there.
Speaking of hearing the music, fantastic arrangements in this movie.
Great.
Started out and I was like, oh yeah, there's that anime orchestra and the brass that Kyoto Animation is not afraid of. They just always go for those horns and brass instruments. And I feel like it adds so much more when they know what they're doing with it. Music's really beautiful. The animation's beautiful. The story, for the most part, is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Good time.
Yeah, check it out. I think it's worth checking out, though.
Definitely check out the series.
Absolutely,
Holy shit.
absolutely. Evergarden's top picks of just great shows that's a must watch, and it's on Netflix.
Must watch for anybody as well. I think that it fits the non-anime watcher category.
Oh yeah, it's a little violent, maybe not for for kids.
Sure.
Yeah,
but I just mean
yeah, for sure.
For fucking casuals.
When I was saying everybody was like,
no.
I'm not going to show this to my nephew. It's it's amazing.
Yeah,
you're not old enough for this.
I'll show it to him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Uncle Chris.
Yeah, Uncle Chris.
Yeah.
That's it though. That's the show. That's all Violet Evergarden, right? The movie. We're done.
I guess so.
Next week,
what?
Bright. Right?
Okay.
The animation.
Bright the anime. It's it's Samurai Bright time. It's something like that.
We're gonna watch Bright.
It's a Netflix thing. We're not anticipating anything great.
It's gonna be amazing.
You guys don't want to watch that and want to keep up with us? Watch every fucking anime that's coming out on Crunchyroll and Funimation and High Dive and Netflix.
2 weeks.
Blue Point on Netflix. Don't forget.
There's one on Netflix.
Blue Point.
I'll check it out.
Yep.
That's it, man. That's the show. If you like our theme song, check out Not Mars, which is an anagram. On Spotify. Trip, where people find us?
Facebook, look up the Instant Ramen Podcast. Same thing goes for Instagram. Look up the Instant Ramen Podcast. If you want to send us a tweet at Instant Ramen Pod. And you can shoot us an email, instantRamenPodcast@gmail.com. I'm glad that you guys stuck around and listened to us. Thank you for that.
And again, this is just our opinion. If you don't agree with it, it is what it is.
Also, fuck you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
If you love this, that's fine. You're more than welcome to love it. We don't care. It's not, we're not going to sleep over that.
I don't care about anything. Also, fuck you.
Okay, this is bye from Juan.
I love you from Chris.
Hey, Trip, don't forget.
Just add hot water.